All right. Welcome to Retro Spectacles. I am Mitch Marzoni. With me, as always, doing some weird overtime this morning is Mr. Teddy Tutson. How are you, sir?
Oh, man, always a beautiful time when you can kick off your morning, your week, close your month out with a Heavenly Creatures watch. Shout out Peter Jackson. We on the afterlife. We on the spiritual plane, astral plane. We chasing all the planes out here. New Zealand, baby. Shit is real grimy post-World War II, but we out here sci-fiing it up.
Yeah, this one's tough to get into. This is 1996. I didn't catch it at the time. I didn't see it in theaters. This is Peter Jackson, written and directed by Peter Jackson and his now longtime partner, Fran. Oh, I didn't get her name. What's that?
Walsh.
You got it. That sounds right. 26 million budget, 29 million international. So he made $1.50 at the box office.
But sometimes it ain't about. It ain't about the box office. It's really about the doors that you open in. Because truly, the genesis of Peter Jackson.
We are getting. I'm just running down stats.
I'm sorry,
baby.
You didn't tell us what city that you were in when you were watching this.
I'm just running stats. I'm just running stats, baby.
Straight
stats.
box office mojo. Yeah. What up?
65 on RT, 52 on Metacritic. I think a little unfair.
What's the Metacritic? 62?
52.
52 on Metacritic. Really?
2. Yeah. Little surprised by that one. The 65 on Rotten Tomatoes, not a surprise. The 52 on Metacritic, little surprised.
Bit of hateration. Hateration there.
So I'm just going to, it's very, very difficult. Peter Jackson is he's almost too much to talk about. It's almost unfair to throw this movie in so early. I'm going to just try to get a brief background on the man, just the films leading up to this one as quickly as I can. What was it? I had the Retroids and what was the other one I had that we talked about?
Yeah, Retroids was absolutely nixed out, man. We can't. You can't. You keep resurfacing Retroids, and I don't know how many times I'm gonna have to try to put this thing in the dirt. We cannot call these people Retroids.
Spectacalians.
Spectacalians. Right. I feel like, okay, we'll figure it out. All
right. Anyway, listeners of the show,
self-assessment.
I assure you, we will absolutely deep dive Peter Jackson plenty more times.
Someday.
We'll definitely, yes. This is not a one and done. Do not take this as our definitive Peter Jackson episode.
Nothing. Yeah, okay.
We're trying to just talk about Frighteners today, which is impossible to do.
This is our Frighteners leading up to the. This is our Frighteners. All right, we just getting started. We just bought a couple of computers and we got to find a reason to use them.
So 1987, he does his first student film called Bad Taste, which is an ironic title. It's a pun. Really, I just recently got my hands on it. I heard about it a few times. It's impressive for what it is. I don't know how he pulled off a lot of the shit that he did in that movie.
You say a lot about Peter Jackson. That's sort of a recurring thing about old Petey Boy's filmography. I don't know how this guy pulled off a lot of the shit that he did. The early stuff, even in this movie, you're looking at some of the things in the Frighteners, and you're like, "Yo, for the time."
I'm not even talking for the time. I mean, the budget. This motherfucker blew up a Victorian house, and then it shot off of the ground. It lifts off the ground into the sky. The bottom of the house blows out. I don't want to get into it, but I was like, where'd you get the budget for that? Then I think personally, the second film should have been called Bad Taste because it truly is bad taste. And we are talking, of course, about 1989's Meet the Feebles, which cannot recommend it to anyone with eyeballs or ears, for that matter, because Jackson loves his noises and his fluids. The trailer for this, I don't know if you've ever seen Rocky Horror Picture Show in a theater properly.
I have seen it. Yeah, we did get to see it one time. And we threw the spoons and we did things of that nature. We did all that good stuff.
I'm not familiar with the spoons. And I thought I've seen it.
Oh, you know what? I'm mixing that up with The Room. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It happens.
All right. Okay.
Your cult classics.
Yeah.
Do be
Fair,
like
fair.
that sometimes.
The trailer that would play before the Rocky Horror Picture Show that I went to in Phoenix in my youth was the trailer for Meet the Feebles. And I was like, I don't know what this movie is, but one day I got to see this. And then one day I went to the DVD Mecca in Orange County back when that was a thing. And I saw Meet the Feebles and I was like, I'm buying this today. And I watched it and I think I threw up. Like I genuinely felt sick. It was ungodly unwatchable. I have since watched it a second time and it's still unwatchably bad. Unbelievably bad. Then we get 1992 where he's on the map. He does a zombie movie called Brain Dead, very New Zealand, very silly movie. When it gets released in the US, it gets changed, both the title and the poster. This is for my horror film nerds. Dead Alive.
Yeah.
Now that's the box art that you see at a Blockbuster and you go, I'm renting that. Yeah, and that's what put Mr. Jackson on the map. And there was lore that like no movie had ever had more deaths and gore and blood and blah, blah, blah. I don't know if that's true. I didn't even look into it. It's just one of those things you say on the, in high school. You're like, hey man, that movie, that Dead Alive. It was like a legendary film. Then 2 years later, he does, I'm putting a pin in it because I haven't seen it. And we're going to talk about it in a minute. Heavenly Creatures with my gal, Kate Winslet. She's on my list of like, you don't say this is just one of those rules on retrospectacles. You don't say anything about bad about Kate Winslet, Gary Oldman, Catherine O'Hara, Fred Rogers. There's a few others, but right off the bat, Kate Winslet is in that list. So I will not hear on this podcast nary a negative word about Ms. Winslet, the Queen. Then 2 years after that, we get Der Frighteners. With a special embossed
German
DVD.
title, apparently.
Der Frighteners. And like literally, he finishes the Frighteners, and he's like, "I got all these computers. I want I make movies over here in New Zealand." It's really difficult to do a New Zealand accent, and then he gets closer. Oh, good, I can use all these computers. And literally a year after this movie, he convinces the Weinsteins to let him do Lord of the Rings. And they're like, all right, if you could just pack all that into one 95-minute film. And he goes, no.
Absolutely not.
And they're
Absolutely
like, we don't have Lord of the Rings money. And he was like, the guys over at New Line are into it. And they're like, okay, here's the deal. If you can find somebody to like give you all of the money, fine. We'll co-produce and you can do your fucking 3-picture deal. So he goes over to New Line. And they're like,
epic trilogy bullshit.
New Line gave him $250 million adjusted for inflation dollars to make Lord of the Rings that next year. So I put the pin in it. I thought that you had seen, because you'd mentioned Heavenly Creatures, which I was a little surprised by. You watched it this morning. Tell me about your experience with, before we get into Frighteners, tell me your experience with Heavenly Creatures.
I was aware of Heavenly Creatures, and I had seen scenes of it, little snippets here and there, right? But I don't think I'd ever seen full viewing of said movie. So truly great start to the day. Very refreshing, very uplifting, very optimistic and hopeful. You can see though, right?
Is it really? It doesn't.
Oh no,
like
absolutely not. It is incredibly. Man, look, there's a part. I mean, like you're talking about these two people who are really trying to escape into this land of fantasy and delusion that they've summoned, which is very similar to old Johnny Boy and Patricia in the Frighteners, and that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Like. You really can't have one without the other because Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh basically come up with the idea for the Frighteners while they're in the middle of writing Heavenly Creatures, right? Yes. They're doing this real world adaptation of this incredibly horrific, murder in New Zealand, and then kind of this more fictionalized version of a lot of those themes is birthed out of it, right? And then they get your boy Zemeckis in there and essentially is like, all right, like, let's take this tree, let's really turn this thing in, right? Like, you've got the Frighteners DNA in there, right? Because basically Zemeckis helps them with the Frighteners and turning that into its own thing. But like Heavenly Creatures is shooting as the Frighteners is being moved through production. So there's stuff in there where, like, to the point where we'll talk more about, you know, a lot of speed running, test running Lord of the Rings in the Frighteners. There's some crazy CGI stuff. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's CGI with the little statues going on in Heavenly Creatures, where you're like, this feels like some Lord of the Rings dwarf
now,
stuff.
see, this ain't
happening.
this ain't the Heavenly Creatures episode. Kidding.
As another very specific connective tissue, right? My understanding is that Michael J. Fox gets into the role because he basically had seen Heavenly Creatures at the Toronto Film Festival, and that's why he signed on to the Frighteners, right?
I was pretty sure that it was just that if you call Bob Zemeckis, he goes, Bob Zemeckis, hold, and then calls up Michael J. Fox, and he goes, all right, I got a call for you. And then he's like, I got Michael J. Fox on the line. Go ahead. I was pretty sure that's just what happened in the 90s.
It is literally because of, you know, the screening of Heavenly Creatures leading to Michael J. Fox wanting to work with Peter Jackson, right?
Okay.
And I think also Michael J. Fox in The Frighteners takes on a very different role than you've seen him on historically, right? He's very confident, he's youthful, he's cocky, he's kind of a fucking loser and a douchebag in The Frighteners, very against type.
I wrote Michael J. Fox, real asshole for a change, but somehow still charming. Still charming.
Still a charming asshole. You can't get him to abandon everything. But I mean, you know, this is why Michael J. Fox is the best. Go ahead and put him on the list. I won't hear anything bad about Michael J. Fox either. And so there's just that piece is just, I think, very fascinating in the sense of there's a like creative credibility that Peter Jackson establishes with Heavenly Creatures that bleeds all the way through a lot of the things that you're seeing, right? He's getting the buy-in from someone like a Michael J. Fox. The casting process for Heavenly Creatures is what led to Melanie Linsky being discovered by Walsh. So like, and then she cameos in The Frighteners, right? It's like there's all of this stuff happening where like the two of these movies and their conceptualizations are very overlapping in each other. And then the way he's using emerging technology. And then that's before you get into all the themes and stuff, right? About using this interplay between past and present, living and dead, this fourth world idea they explore in, you know, Heavenly Creatures and how that translates over into the living and the dead and how they interplay throughout the Frighteners, right? It's really fascinating to just sort of see someone kind of create this sense of visual and artistic identity that they're going to be referring to throughout the rest of their time as a director. Yeah.
Especially
in both of them.
Especially also, I think, if you've had any experience or exposure to his, what they call his Splatterhouse days, AKA literally everything he did up until Heavenly Creatures. Like you take those three films in their totality, and if I showed you those three films in isolation, I cut out the intro or I cut out any title sequence or whatever, you know what I mean? Blurred the names and just showed you those three films. And I said, now let me show you. Are you ready for his next film? I think you'd be like, no, I'm not. I'm not ready.
Yeah,
I'm not. I don't want to see what he does next. They're like, no, you got to see what he does. Like there's no world in which I put it on a roulette wheel. There's no world in which you pick the right one. You know, you certainly don't pick Heavenly Creatures. I think out of 1,000, maybe you pick Frighteners, maybe just because it's sort of in the horror comedy genre, which Dead Alive ostensibly you could put in a horror comedy because it's slapsticky in its way, but you have to be a horror nerd to like Dead Alive. That's all there is to it. If you're not a horror nerd, you're not going to like it. No, Frighteners, I think you can enjoy as a dark comedy. A Tim Burton, which is very much the introduction. Danny Elfman, you've got the same font, the glowing.
There's the Danny Elfman piece.
It kind of looks like Beetlejuice in the first 30 seconds. It sounds like Beetlejuice.
It sounds like a Tim Burton movie when you hear that Danny Elfman kind of gothic whimsy going
and they're
through
zooming through the town. It looks just like the intro to Beetlejuice. And again, the titling is basically the same.
Yeah, very representative of that. But I would agree, it's not a horror. No. It's black comedy for sure, supernatural, sci-fi stuff. That said, I think also as we get into the Frighteners specifically, Peter Jackson talked about being literally visited by a ghost when he and Walsh were living in this 100-year-old apartment building during the period when they were writing and shooting Heavenly Creatures and the Frighteners, right? And she had seen the same ghost apparently 3 years earlier. So they really on some spooky shit, son. When they're drafting up all of this, they got the true crime piece, but also you can really see how an adaptation and a race to get the rights to tell the story of, what happened in Heavenly Creatures mixed with, oh shit, you saw the ghost too? We lead you to the Frighteners. They out here halfway through. You saw the ghost? And she said, you mean you finally saw the ghost? I've been holding on to this shit for 1,000 days.
Now, how much does Frank Bannister, Michael J. Fox, how much does Frank Bannister as a person showing up at your house to deghost the place? How much
that's what are we're calling it?
Deghosting. The deghosting.
Okay.
He's got a semi-automatic holy water gun and a little toaster that pops out souvenir ghost bags. So it's a deghosting.
All right, that's fair.
Normally, as we've discussed multiple times so far, you're like, I believe you. Let's get you out of here. Your house has been ghosted, and you need a deghosting. And Frank Bannister shows up. How quickly do you go? All right, you get one shot, or do you go? No, this guy. Fuck this guy. I don't trust the water gun, the toaster. The stethoscope.
I don't.
The monoscope.
I went through a couple of different things on this. Right. Number one, what I did put down was $450 in 1996 to legitimately purge a house of ghosts seems like a bargain, son. That doesn't seem like are you getting fleeced and conned? Sure. But there are actually ghosts there, and you are technically getting the ghost out of there for $450. Feels like not the worst deal. That said, the first time that shit really starts wilding out like that, where hey, this shit's flying around and stuff or whatever, this, that, whatever. I am out of the fucking state, bro. I'm not calling Frank Bannister because I'm just fleeing. Do you understand? There's no, so the wife, I think the dude, yeah.
Hold on. The wife is on the bed. It starts levitating. You go,
we peace. Out. No, I'm not going to leave her. I'm not abandoning her.
So you're going to wait till the bed comes back down again.
When it settles down. Yeah, I'm not absolutely peace it out like that. No, well, as soon as shit calms down.
Goodbye, honey.
Yeah. By the time the bed hits the ground, I got the U-Haul already rented. Let's go. I got half the house packed up. You've been bouncing off this bed for 37 minutes. I'm so sorry for you. We got to get you figured out.
They've only been living there for 3 months.
I don't. What that? Yeah, of course, that makes it easier for me to bounce. That's easier for me to leave.
Motherfucker, 3 months packing yet? Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know nobody in the neighborhood. I don't know anybody. I'm not settled in. I don't got a Chinese food place. I don't got a routine for walking the dog yet. Huh? I'm not on next door. I'm not doing nothing, bro. 3 months. So all I'm saying is 96. 3 months. I'm not calling Frank Bannister. No, I get respectfully, it. You
don't have roots down in 3 months. I got that. Yeah,
not at all. Even if it was 3 years, we out of there, bro. Hey, why y'all fleeing? Why y'all packing up and moving? Some shit is real grimy. Ghosts afoot. I don't know about y'all. Gonna find a new job. We out of here. To me, the immediate thing that I've thought and watching the Peter Jackson stuff recently and thinking about all of his New Zealand connections is Peter Jackson uses New Zealand in his movies the same way M. Night Shyamalan sets all his shit in Pennsylvania, son. Ain't a damn M. Night Shyamalan movie that don't involve Pennsylvania in some way. And this man shot the Frighteners, and they're like, this shit is set in the Midwest of the United States. And he's like, cool, we're shooting this shit in New Zealand.
Oh, we got a Midwest in New Zealand. What do you need? We got a Midwest over here. We got a Midwest over there.
Plenty of Kiwis over there. You can't. They go, hey, Zemeckis like a dog. Can you make
what we need
Zealand
is Middle
like?
America? He's like, yeah, we got Middle America over there.
Yeah.
We got a Middle America over there. We got Middle Earth right here.
Really? You could pull that shit off, Peter? That's more impressive than the fucking Grim Reaper.
Yeah, we got suburbs over there. We got PF Chang's just down the street.
The Bennigan's.
Here's a Panda Express right up the road there. Now McDonald's, they don't like New Zealand and McDonald's.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. It's incredible that this man's commitment to New Zealand from the very beginning, bro.
Oh, yeah.
He's like, we're shooting this shit in New Zealand. He brought Michael J. Fox all the way over there.
Yeah, I do think that's. I don't want to get too far into the Lord of the Rings world here, but I do think part of the pitch was that he went to New Line and was like, first of all, no unions. Second of all, tax breaks out the wazoo, and we do use the word wazoo. Third of all, it's New Zealand. The land is free. It's everywhere. We can shoot anywhere in the country. There's no one there. Put a helicopter in the middle of a field. There's no one there. We can shoot for 6 months in the same spot, and no one will ever bother us.
Abandoned.
Like, there's absolutely.
As we get into pure Frighteners mode, but I can't promise the last one. There's a shot in Heavenly Creatures. Kate Winslet is just running through the New Zealand landscape. And it is it's just a beautiful shot. The camera's real high above the cinematography. Is spinning around. She's running through this fucking very Lord of the Rings location ass probably going through. He's like, yeah, I know a place. And it's just amazing. Like truly using the landscape as a character in and of itself. And I immediately was like, oh yeah, you was definitely practicing them Lord of the Rings shots, right? You definitely had a fucking hillside that you just did this big swooping ass incredible shot. And it feels so big and grand for that movie, right? Like it feels like there's really no reason for Peter Jackson to flex like that. Outside of the fact that he's just like, I'm gonna show you what New Zealand's all about.
In Bad Taste, like the opening scene, Peter Jackson's in Bad Taste. He plays two different characters. He's the first guy you see on the screen. So he shows up like he's a scientist. He's surveying a town, and he's looking over at this small town in New Zealand. And he goes, where's all the people? There's no one here. They all left. And the whole movie takes place in this, like, above this town, and there's never any people except his friends that are there on the making of the movie. And you're like, I have a feeling Peter Jackson just called every one of them, was like, yeah, can I use the town for a day? And they just like left. And they were like, yeah, all right, Peter, I'll go over to your parents' house.
Sounds great.
He's like, yeah, stop by Bob and Margaret. Come say hi. Now I'm Australian.
We'll see how long the Kiwi echolocation stays here.
I gotta say, I think from soup to nuts, even like extras, even anybody who's so much as like you see a facial expression, anybody who has a line, immaculate casting.
Truly top notch. I had very early on, as soon as he makes his appearance as our super weird eccentric FBI agent Jeffrey Combs coming in, is such a great fucking weird eccentric guy, very complimentary.
A reanimator.
Yes, exactly. And I will also say he has a role in one of my wife and I's favorite Halloween recurring watches, which is Would You Rather? And he plays this very weird eccentric guy who works for this family that is doing all of this, stuff that leads to the Would You Rather game in the house. But it's so great. Like he is just so perfect in this very, lo-fi horror film that feels very gritty, and it's a pace of his repertoire. But he's so good. Like genuinely, like we're talking about, you genuinely would believe, not just fictionally, that this guy could end up in this profession in real life. Also on the casting front, one of my longtime favorite actors who's been in so many just amazing films, TV shows, everything from Boston Legal to Undercover Brother. Shout out Chi McBride, who plays, the 70s era Black Ghost, right?
Yeah.
Who gets off some amazing lines in this, right? He gets that line. He's like, "Find me some other black ghosts and organize me a march."
I wrote down at the moment it happened. I wrote down: Is Teddy looking forward to joining the AAAC, the African American Apparition Coalition?
And I'm gonna tell you something, Frank. It ain't nothing worse than a bunch of pissed off brothers that's already dead.
He got that line about the white sheets as well too.
Oh yeah, he's like, maybe we should try white sheets.
Yeah,
no.
Yeah, a little about that. I mean, it's so well casted, and then that's obviously before you touch on, just impeccably casted Jake Busey as a demented mass murderer, not to typecast a whole family. You know what I'm saying?
But here we go.
But the Buseys seem to have, at least between Gary and Jake, a predisposition towards unstable, mercurial individuals. Mm-hmm. And they've honed their craft and they've done it well.
He nails it here.
He's great. Honestly, he's great. He's got
me a score of 12. That's one better than Stark. Like that, the eyes and everything, just absolutely the delivery perfect. The right amount of Southern drawl. Yeah, not too over the top. On
the line that you touched on here, as we get into Frighteners, meat and potatoes, I thought it was very fascinating to hear this guy who was a 1960s dude, right? Like the movie's set in place, decades later or whatever, but he frozen in time in the 60s, right? Johnny's a 60s boy. He talking like a modern day school shooter, which is high score shit, right? Like it's crazy to see that shit, and that's really how they be talking on 4chan. That's how they be talking in all these fucking loser ass message boards and shit like that. This video game shit. The guy who, and ironically, I guess the guy who did the Christchurch shooting, in New Zealand a decade or so ago was talking about, who filmed it, right? And broadcast it, was talking exactly like that about getting a high score and all that stuff. So it just kind of was very, not lost on me to hear how modern that verbiage was in the juxtaposition of a guy from the 60s operating in the 90s, where you also had, school shootings just kind of beginning to really sink into the cultural ether, right? Because you had the Jonesboro school shooting in Arkansas, one of the very first ones that was pre-Columbine. It kind of got forgotten, but that was the two kids that were just very much so in middle school, and they were like 13 and 11, and they basically waited for their classmates to file out of the class while they had pulled a fire alarm or something like that, right? It was real methodical. It was in all the magazines and stuff, and I'm pretty sure, because Columbine was what, 99?
I think it was 97 or 98, maybe 98.
No, Columbine was 99 because this one was before 99? That. Okay. That's my whole point. That's my whole point, Mitch.
Well,
because they forgot about these two kids in Arkansas.
It still would have been before this movie.
No, but my point was
it would have been before. This movie would have been before Columbine is what I'm saying.
But my point is that the Arkansas shooting took place before Columbine,
right?
And was the du jour, school shooting thing. And I think those folks are a lot closer in many respects to the Busey character, right? Than the suburban trench coat mafia guys who are very sullen and don't necessarily have that in terms of even the Southern disposition and those types of things, right? Anyway, my point is that it's just very fascinating to see Heavenly Creatures 96, Jonesboro happens 98, But this dude is based in the 60s, and flash forward to 2025, 2026, you hear people talking exactly like this dude does in this movie, right? In terms of the high score, got me. And even towards the end, not to jump ahead to spoilers, but he's talking about the score dynamically and beating other people. The line that he says about this got to be held by an American. It's so fucking just so jingoistic, but it is truly, you could put this guy in the scummiest internet forums and he would be right at home.
Yeah. Unfortunately. Yeah. Don't let 4chan find out about Frighteners.
Yeah. I unfortunately, do we think that 4chan is out here really letterboxing it up right now?
I mean,
we don't need 4chan to take over.
The part where you've got to stand over them and carve a number in their forehead, they don't got time for that. That's way too personal. That's way too much
effort, too much work. Again, a
mass shooting,
active shooter, mass shooting playbook society, right? Where these things are much more.
Nobody's ready for that. Nobody's ready for the shotgun to the face and the carving of the numbers. Nobody's prepared.
Not at all. No. I mean, a little bit. When did Natural Born Killers come out?
That was 94, 95, something like that.
So I wouldn't even say we're still prepared. We're still processing.
Oh, I meant the 60s. I was talking about
you're talking about the
lore
60s.
of the. Okay,
sure, got it.
But yeah, I do think
back
that
in the 60s, sure, for sure.
The vibe. I was actually going to mention Natural Born Killers because it's interesting that the vibe of the 90s was like. There was quite a few movies that there was a sort of glorification and almost rock starification of the killer in that, the Manson, Charlie Don't Surf t-shirts, Natural Born Killers, Richard Ramirez, that Brad Pitt movie, California, to some degree, you could say, Pulp Fiction, things like that. The gangster movie was sort of back.
You got the noir aspect, right?
Like being a violent cool guy was.
Well, let's also not
back in
forget
action, back in
what was in the undercurrent of this, right? It may not have been in your silver screen, but on the TV screen, this was also coinciding with WWE's Attitude Era and Stone Cold and The Rock, right? Anti-heroes beating up their bosses, being assholes. You're making a face like you don't know who Stone Cold Steve Austin is.
No. I'm wondering. I'm thinking, isn't that like late 90s, like 98?
That's mid 90s.
Onwards?
That's mid 90s. That's mid 90s.
I wouldn't know.
That's mid 90s.
Okay. Okay.
It's all, I would say it's all of that. You call it like,
listen, you want to talk wrestling, you start your own
early
podcast.
2000s.
That's all there is to it. This is a wrestling free podcast. Had to go wrestling. Had you had any exposure at all to this film?
I think very much so, in the same way that I had seen like scenes and stuff, right? Like it might have been on TV or whatever, but I had never watched The Frighteners. I'd seen a scene here and there for a variety of reasons, but I'd never actually watched the full movie. So this was this was my first, full viewing of this. And I will also say, as a huge Michael J. Fox fan, right, was also a bit surprised that I had never actually seen this. But I think that's what was also very illuminating for me, was seeing him as this real jackass, right? And then also learning that Jackson and Walsh thought The Frighteners was going to be this kind of low budget film, unknown actors. And then Michael J. Fox sees Heavenly Creatures, and then to your point, Zemeckis is like, "Hey, you should cast this guy."
Yeah, so maybe it's the inverse. Maybe Michael J. Fox is like, Michael J. Fox calls and he's like, "Hold on for just a minute. Hey, Bob Zemeckis on the line. All right, I got Bob Zemeckis on the line. Go ahead."
Yeah.
Maybe it's the inverse of the. Zemeckis,
it is, like you see it, and then all of a sudden he's like, "Can you get me to work with this guy?" Yeah, I can figure it out. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
And so I think that is where because again, right, like you got stuff like Spin City, which is basically, I didn't really have conceptualized that Spin City is on at the same time as the Frighteners, right? And I love Spin City, the politics, the news, the journalism. Imagine me, middle school, high school, watching some shit like Spin City with Michael J. Fox. Could not have built a fucking TV show more tailored to my aims and interests. I will tell you vividly still, I remember sobbing when they did the goodbye episode from Spin City because he had Parkinson's and he had to leave. I remember the promo tour where every 30 seconds it felt like you were hearing Macy Grace, I just say goodbye and that joke, because that was the song that they were playing, as I recall, in that episode, and I think in a lot of the promo pieces. But it was a very difficult TV goodbye for your boy.
I'll bet. Yeah.
But I did not realize the timelines were so aligned in him taking on a Spin City and then also doing this role that very much so is against type for everything that we kind of have known and appreciated about Michael J. Fox up until that point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think the most against type, and it's been a long time since I've seen it, Michael J. Fox role is Bright Lights, Big City. Cokehead Michael J. Fox, if I recall correctly. Like Wall Street, wheeling and dealing, cokehead Michael J. Fox.
Yeah.
I might have to rewatch that. Am I right? Remember correctly? Am I getting that correct?
You're right. I think you're right. Yeah. Yeah. That one is like late 80s, right?
Yeah.
I think
that's where you have to put that one.
That is where, I mean, that's a very, I would say if you're looking for very against type Michael J. Fox roles, it would be that. And then you jump to something like the Frighteners, right?
Yeah.
Very different in terms of against type, in terms of just how, what he's doing.
Like when I was thinking about the casting, one thing that jumped out to me is both the kind of the hard flip that you get with the mother and the daughter. That mother looks like evil personified, but she turns out to be like, no, I'm like literally this whole town would be dead if I don't keep this bitch inside. And the daughter's like this sweet little and then the moment you see her switch, ooh, right in the eyes. That's some good acting. Like right there, where she kind of goes from like, you know what I mean? It's just
I had a similar note where there's a thing, I can't remember, it was some actor was talking about performance that they just completely, lost themselves in it, immersed, and then finally saw it and like couldn't even really finish it because their eyes were so murderous and just cold. And that's the kind of same thing I was thinking about in that scene of just, if you're watching that back, like those are we got murder eyes going on there, right?
She just watched reels of Jake Busey and she was like, that's the look I'm going
I got it. I got to lock in.
Honey, just look at me for like 5 minutes. And
Frighteners is fascinating also in the sense that you've got the dynamic of how, who's really responsible here, right? Like, to your point, kind of very timely with a lot of discourse things. Patricia is very culpable. Insanely culpable. A lot of people can't conceptualize her being culpable, right? It's all Johnny. But Patricia clearly enjoys this shit. I know, I also, very early on, not to sidebar here, but I knew that I was not surprised you picked this movie, that it started with a woman saying the wicked will be punished within the opening minutes and shooting a ghost with a shotgun. I was like, yeah, absolutely. This is a Mitch special right here. This is it. Fastball right down the middle. But there's also some scenes with Patricia as we sort of reach the, the culmination, right, of her and Johnny, where you're like, oh, like you real freaky deaky when it comes to this stuff. Like, I don't even know if this was necessarily Johnny's idea. Like, you might have been the genesis for some of this stuff. Like, you out here really stabbing the ghosts, getting off to stabbing the ghosts. Crazy, son. New levels of freakdom over there. That's wild, bro.
It puts, I don't know how much new light per se, but it changes the light that a lot of these kinds of killings, whenever there's like a young girl involved where you're like, well, like how, you got to do the calculus on that, or is that the right phrase I'm looking for? You're trying to suss out like an insurance agent,
actuary.
Well, there's actuary tables, but I'm just saying, like in general, the calculation on like, well, obviously one's more gas than brakes, but still, Yeah. We talking
I think it
60-40? Are we talking?
Might just be two gas pedals in this car. I don't think there's any brakes. I don't think there's any brakes in the Johnny Patricia whip. It's just straight Leadfoot City. Right?
Yeah. Well, it's a good thing
Like,
that mom somehow stuck around.
Right. Like, thank God for the mom. But, like, Patricia like, also, maybe we should have been a little bit more diligent before we let old girl out. Right. Not the most thorough police investigation back in the 60s. If you missed this incredibly psychopathic killer, she was able to just pull the wool over all society's eyes, huh? How many Patricias we got out there like that, huh? How many Patricias lurking?
Well, they said she was in prison until like 5 years prior to the events of the thing, right?
Yeah, but she was a youth, right? That's why she got her whole shit thrown out.
Yeah,
because she's a youth.
Yeah. But then now I'm thinking, man, I should take better notes, because she did carve the number into the forehead of Bannister's wife. Was that 5 years prior? I thought that was like 10 years. Was it 5? Maybe that works out. That was like the first order.
Bannister's, his wife goes down his wife goes down like 30 years later or whatever, but she gets out because she's underage, right? Or she escapes death because she's underage.
Right.
Patricia.
They say, okay, we'll let you go house arrest under your mom's
and then we'll let you go to your mom's.
So I'm saying, so she must have carved the numbers into his wife's head like the day she got
to
her mom.
Patricia is you talk about the recidivism, but Patricia, like, yo, fucked up, son. Criminal justice system got to take a major L on the recidivism front when it comes to Patricia, because old girl got out and she was beating down the block, son. Straight up.
There was no investigation.
We went from 12. Either. Like, here's the other thing: 13. And they got off to 41, son?
Mm-hmm.
Like, yo, Patricia and Johnny were really out here putting up numbers. Where the cops at? Where y'all at?
Well, it seemed like it was just Johnny after she helped him with the wife.
I don't know about that, man. Patricia clearly
he was just doing
there.
He was doing the heart thing.
Johnny may have been doing the dirty work, but Patricia was clearly involved in every murder because Johnny kept coming back to talk to her.
Yeah,
it wasn't like she was sitting at home at the crib not knowing about. She ain't say, "Oh no, Johnny, stop with the murder." She out here with the knife getting the freaky deaky on, bro.
Yeah.
She asking Johnny to tell her in detail, and then she like, "Yo, I gotta go get some of this my own."
That's just her that's just how they get it. That's how they get it on.
Why you out here doing a weird?
Can we talk for just a moment about the judge getting it on?
Hey, nah, yeah, we definitely gotta talk about the judge, because I think I wrote this down with that line. And I was like, I don't know if you could say that anymore, Judge. Where the judge was like, he goes, the judge was like, I like it when they lie still like that. And I was like, hey, not sure we can, I don't know if this is a necrophilia play or what, Judge, but I don't think we can get down like that anymore, big dog.
Now, I'm sure there's a reference I'm not catching, because to me, I just referenced the movie, but I feel like the movie is referencing something else. One of the judge's first lines is, when a man's jawbone falls off, it's time to reassess the situation.
Yeah, I wasn't sure about that.
That's got to be from like an old Western, because he's got that old Western look to him. And
feels like that's one of those, maybe John Wayne references or something like that, right?
Right. That's what I'm getting from it. Just, and of course, our Lee Armory has to come out and do his thing.
I mean, I was a bit surprised. I mean, it was a great casting. I guess you could technically still have a unknown cast with, Lee Armory, right? Because yes, he was well known as that, but it's not like the guy was necessarily becoming a actual box office draw or anything.
He was always going to be that guy.
Yeah, he's going to be that guy.
We need that guy. We need a drill sergeant. Oh, I know the guy. We've got one.
Right. Like even Jeffrey Combs is not necessarily, like, he's relatively unknown if you want to judge it by that standard, right? Yeah. Like, he's a character actor. Busey isn't anywhere near as big as his dad, right?
Yeah.
So there's nobody even, close to Michael J. Fox's level of fame involved in this film.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think that Jeffrey Combs was the way like Eli Roth and Quentin Tarantino like to throw cameos of their favorite directors and shit like that in the movies. I think Jeffrey Combs, like Peter Jackson's like, Jeffrey Combs, Reanimator, I'm throwing him in this movie.
Now that you're saying that, I do have it in my notes that is literally why Jeffrey Combs ends up in the movie, is because Jackson was a fan of his work in Reanimator, and that's how you get Jeffrey Combs in The Frighteners. It's a lot of that, right? Michael J. Fox sees, Heavenly Creatures, he wants in. Peter Jackson sees Reanimator, he wants Jeffrey Combs in there. It is a testament to actually watching and engaging with films, doing the work. I'm kind of thinking right now of, and I'm curious if you've heard of this, with, and I know you don't watch the show Stranger Things, but Winona Ryder.
I do.
You watch Stranger Things?
Yeah. Absolutely.
And you ain't seen Shawshank?
I've seen Shawshank.
Finally. It took you long enough to see Shawshank, but you watched Stranger Things. Winona's talked about how she enjoys like working with Jenna Ortega with Beetlejuice, because she's a young actress and she actually reads and engages and watches film and all this stuff, and everyone kind of took that as her talking about certain people in the Stranger Things cast, Millie Bobby Brown specifically. And so I think it's just very fascinating to have this film with an example of stars, up and coming legendary directors, producers, right? All watching, engaging, and doing the thing that someone who was coming of age at the same time in a Winona Ryder was like, well, this is what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to watch shit and say, I like this person, or, I want to do more style of this, or I want to work with this person or whatever. And I will say the other thing, to kind of bring it back to Michael J. Fox and his, sort of kind of, I guess, a little bit of an irony here, right? Of being known for playing these very sort of youthful, resilient, energetic guys before he gets played in this fucking, loser con man style, right? And this is, I'm pretty sure, his last live action role, before kind of semi-retiring, right? At least in a feature film because of the Parkinson's. So kind of interesting that The Frighteners, with some of its stuff about life and death and things of that nature, really sort of serves as his last big feature film before, you get a much more ratcheted down Michael J. Fox presence. Because he was on Curb Your Enthusiasm. I think he did a little arc or something like that, right?
He did Scrubs as well, yeah.
Yeah. So there's a couple of these things, but in terms of like actual movie star and all the demands and rigors, it really sort of gets bookended with The Frighteners.
So I will link this in the show notes, that I found this fascinating piece from the LA Times from 1998, just prior to the starting of the filming of The Lord of the Rings, where New Line said, we're committing up to $129 million, which LA Times was like, they were like, what? I did the math, or I did the conversion. That's $260 million today. Do you, on the strength of The Frighteners, give Peter Jackson $250 million to make 3 movies?
All right. So look, I'm going to also assume that I'm probably seeing Heavenly Creatures as well.
I threw it, and then I wrote question mark at the end of The Frighteners, and then I wrote, and or also Heavenly Creatures.
I think you gotta include Heavenly Creatures in here, right? Like, let's just say you cutting a check, you're like, oh, he did something else. Like, show me the other thing that he did that was like out of the same creative window. Because that's,
did he do anything before that? Nope, nothing before that. Nothing at all before that.
No. Like, look, you have a drama version and a comedy horror version of sort of the same movie in a lot of respects, told through different genres, different framing, coming out of the same creative window, right? He's using the same emerging technologies and shit like that. So I'm like, yo, you guys show me both. There's some stuff in Heavenly Creatures where then when they get to like the fourth world scene, and I immediately clocked it because I was like, oh, that might be pretty tough. Back in, when this dropped, right? Like, okay. And then you get to the statues, and they're doing the clay, and there's the real like dynamics and stuff of like CGI and maybe some live action, whatever. And so you got a lot of that, even though the movie ain't got nothing to do with that, bro. You got nothing to do with that.
I briefly skimmed the Wikipedia so as not to spoil it. I was going to watch it last night, but then I was like, I already made my notes. I don't want it to color my commentary too much. I'll watch it sometime this week, I'm sure. But in briefly skimming the Wikipedia, I was like, why was this even like on the docket for Lord of the Rings?
Right.
And they were like, oh, there's a whole sequence of fantasy worlds that they show, and I'm like,
the fourth world stuff that they get into, and that comes from the real letters, right, of the two, teenage girls that commit this heinous act. And then when you see the way he visualizes it, and there's a scene in which all the narration comes specifically from one of the girls' diaries, right, that sort of led to her being convicted and all this stuff. Sorry for the spoilers, but obviously what happens to a degree. But there's this transformation scene where she's narrating, the actual diary entry, and they're going to what they call this fourth world. And there's some cool, it's so smooth for 1994 that you kind of are like, yo, this guy is on some next level shit. And then when I'm talking about, you get to like the fantasy sequences and you're seeing the statues and blah, 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 and the way, how clean it looks, how nice it looks. You're like, okay, all right. And then we go to the Frighteners. And we got, the Wraiths, Grim Reaper out here doing their thing, right? Jumping around. Like, it's so advanced and ambitious. I can understand giving consideration for cutting the check. That said, I probably need to get on the phone with Zemeckis. I need a Zemeckis verbal cosign. And not even maybe phone. Maybe we got to go out to lunch, bro. You gotta. I'll talk to Peter, but I need Zemeckis.
Best I could do in 1998. Unfortunately, best I could do is Weinstein. That's who you're getting on the phone with. Turns out that's who.
I need a Zemeckis. Gotta get Zemeckis. Best I can do is the Weinstein. One or two.
Yeah. In 1998, that's who got on the phone with New Line was Weinstein. Who was like, we were going to give him one movie, and they were like, and they're like, yeah, we were to give him one movie, but he wanted more money and 3 movies. And New Line's like, and they're like, we'll get the
show him the fourth world sequence. Honestly, I think
if you could do the other 2/3, we'll do that first third, but you got to do the other 2/3.
The sequences are super dope enough that I can see some guy who just thinks that everything is real fuddy-duddy and whatever being like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like, it is compared to kind of some other things that you're getting. And I think also because of the Heavenly Creatures piece, genuinely, it is presented as kind of a flex, right? Of like a guy who's tinkering and at the cutting edge. And the way that it's incorporated into the movie just feels like, yo, this guy's got something special here. Really doesn't need to be here. And then you pair that with the shot that I'm telling you about Kate Winslet with the New Zealand and the hillside, right? Yeah. And you're like, maybe.
Yeah. Well,
that's a lot of money, though. That's a lot of money.
By all accounts, certainly Heavenly Creatures more so than Frighteners, but Heavenly Creatures apparently tested through as far as critics went. Critics were like, "Oh fuck yeah! Oh hell yeah!" You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
So if nothing else, I think it even had Oscar nods. If
it got
nothing else,
best original screenplay. Original screenplay.
So
which is right? It's Fran Walsh and Peter Jackson. Yeah.
So you got you're like, well, the man knows, say what you will.
He can write.
Peter Jackson, the man knows story. So I guess you go, again, I strongly recommend folks listening and you yourself, read that link. Is so fascinating to look through the lens of 1998 LA Times at Peter Jackson and New Line and be like, this fucking crazy. Because it's so I don't know what these fucking lunatics are thinking. It's so the fantasy genre never fucking works. That's a lot of goddamn money. Peter Jackson's a weirdo. He's never had a box office hit. Frighteners was a fucking bomb. It's nothing but I don't think
but Heavenly
so.
Creatures is so compelling, and you can see it, right? Heavenly
they do
Creatures
say that. They do at least say they're but people, all the critics were fucking gung ho. I can imagine.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, right? Michael J. Fox watching this at the Toronto Film Festival and being like, I gotta fucking work with this guy. I gotta be in this guy's shit. Zemeckis, hook your boy up.
Bobby Z,
Michael J.
Bobby Zemeckis.
probably also what gets you a piece of this is discovering a talent like Melanie Lynskey as a part of the casting call for Heavenly Creatures, right? Like there's just a lot of things working in their favor. And then, you know, to the point that we're talking about here, Heavenly Creatures is also the launching point for the, what's Jackson's, thing called Weta or whatever?
Weta Digital.
Yeah. Like that's it. Like that's its infancy, right? And they do all the stuff with the statues and stuff that you're talking about, and people are like, "Yo, this shit is dope. This is amazing. Like, this is crazy. This is just crazy." But you can see everything's coming up Walsh and Jackson, right? Like you can see a little bit of that happening here for momentum, despite the fact that like none of this shit makes any money, right? Like to your point, this ain't make no money. That like Heavenly Creatures ain't make no money. Frighteners ain't making no money.
Right.
I'm saying how much, Peter?
I'm saying today, you don't give this dude $250 million to go make a trilogy on an unproven IP that no one really has ever.
They be giving out movies to people for some stuff, bro. I don't know, man. They be giving.
I don't know if I don't think you're giving Lord of the Rings to a guy who's mostly made splatter porn. And one art house film, and then a dark comedy.
All right. Well, okay, maybe I'm trying to think of who did. All right, the splatter porn is probably not a point in his favor. It's probably a little bit more of an uphill battle, sure.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, whereas I guess a good comparison for you is, you know, the way that Greta Gerwig was able to get Narnia. She had to go from Lady Bird to Barbie, right? And then she could get Narnia money and budget.
You had some thoughts about the state of the industry in 1996, what this fucker was up against.
Because I think there's a lot here, and even under the best of circumstances, Peter Jackson and the Frighteners were probably doomed. 96.
Now, hold on. Before you tell me, I didn't look this up, but I did work in a movie theater, 95, 96. Here's what I can remember. I'm going to see how many of the big ones I can hit. Twister, ID4.
Yes.
I know it doesn't count, but Hunchback of Notre Dame.
I don't think we're gonna. It
doesn't count, but it was in theaters in 96. I know it doesn't count. Austin Powers at the tail end of 96. You got Austin Powers. I know that doesn't count either because it was not a big hit. Oh, big hits. Phantom.
You've got Twisters. You've got ID4.
Yeah, Twister, ID4. Those are. Mission Impossible. I think was.
There you go. Okay, look, you got a hat trick there.
Or late 96. So there you go.
96. Mission Impossible. There you go. You got that. Now there are a few others. I will give you a Hunchback.
I've watched the last 5 minutes of those three movies 8,000 times. I've never seen Twister, but I know how it ends like the back of my fucking hand. But the other two I've seen a few times. But
so Twister, you've already named some gigantic cultural touch points in 96.
I remember I had to clean up spit cups.
Do we need to give you a moment to work through your residual AMC trauma here?
AMC, this is Harkins. Phoenix. Let me just.
So yes, the answer is yes.
Phoenix, Arizona. I'm talking to you. You know the pain. If anybody in Phoenix who's ever worked for a Harkins is cursing to the heavens right now. You heard me, Dan Harkins.
Suck it. Hey man. 96. You got a lot of the big box office joints correct, right? You got the big three. Let's call it for sure, right?
Yeah.
You got Independence Day, which was huge, obviously. You got Twister. You got Mission Impossible. You got the top three grossing movies in 96 in the domestic box office here in the U.S. Now, before I get into the rest of it,
now, it's possible that I did see Frighteners in theaters because I worked at the movie theater. It's possible I may have seen it when I worked there, honestly. Now that I think about it, but I swore I saw it on DVD. But anyway.
Now, if you saw it in theaters, you would have been seeing it during Independence Day's third week at the box office when it's still printing money. You're also seeing it right as the Atlanta Summer Olympics are literally kicking off that same day. Peter Jackson had talked to Universal about the Olympics specifically. You want to talk about a guy with the industry and taking a chance on him? Old boy had said, hey, guys, don't really think it's a good idea to put my movie up against the fucking Olympics in the United States. I know I filmed my shit in New Zealand, but I do have a little bit of Midwest sensibility. They probably not rock with the Frighteners like that. Universal said, hey, man, kick rocks. We don't give a fuck. Shit came out in the 19th. Now, other movies that dropped in 96. The Rock with Nicolas Cage and Sean Connery.
Sean Connery. Yeah.
The Nutty Professor.
Yep. Remember that? Yep.
Now, keep in mind, again, right, we're talking about a July release. Nutty Professor came out in June. The Rock came out in June. Independence Day came out at the beginning of July. Twister had come out in May, right? Mm-hmm. You got A Time to Kill with John Grisham, putting up some solid numbers. All right,
that must have been late 96.
Time to Kill came out in the summer, actually, in July. Now you talk about the later years of 96. Then you get into Ransom with your boy Mel Gibson. Right?
Oh, I already quit by that point, or fired. I can't remember which one.
Are you tracking? You're tracking this whole timeline based off of do I still work at the theater?
Yeah. At what point did I tell Dan Harkins to go fuck himself?
What point did I quit this shit? Okay. Also, just to give you an idea of how different a landscape it was, top 10 grossing movie for the year, The Birdcage. Robin Williams. Right? This is all that Peter Jackson's up against. Hunchback of Notre Dame's up there as well, too. You got Eraser. You got First Wives Club, 101 Dalmatians. Space Jam also comes out that year. Scream comes out that year. From Dusk Till Dawn comes out, if you're talking about horror comedy as well, right? Just a super big year for that. And also, Mars Attack comes out at the end of the year, right? You got The Craft. You got Fargo. English
that
Patient.
After I
Jerry
quit.
Maguire. Sling Blade.
After I quit.
It's a brutal slate in the best of years for something like The Frighteners, but a mid-budget horror comedy with Michael J. Fox against type, supposed to be in the Midwest, but you set in New Zealand, and it's R-rated. Tough sledding for Peter Jackson. And as you can imagine, he lost that battle decisively.
No, of course, yeah.
So that's 96. 96 is maybe one of the greatest years for movies ever. You had a record at the time. Most 12 movies crossing $100 million.
Most people, and we'll get into it on our next episode, most people would pin that for 1999. That is a brutal year to have a movie, which will be on our next episode. So,
Mitch, how much do you think the Frighteners, in terms of box office, where do you think it ranked for 1996?
Out of how many?
200.
I want to say 115.
That's not bad. 103.
Okay. All right.
115 would be Babe. The other thing about the Frighteners, I think we touched on briefly, but was supposed to get a PG-13 rating and then got hit with an R by the MPAA.
Because of violence.
And so, to Peter Jackson's frustration with that rating, he basically decided to make old boy's Jeffrey Combs scene where he plays what's this guy's name? Dammers or whatever, right? That guy?
Yeah, Milton Dammers.
Milton Dammers, right? Milton Dammers. But basically talks about how he was super annoyed and makes that scene even more gruesome by having the big head explosion.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. Because I remember watching, I was like, damn. It's like, we went for scanners right here. Okay. But I enjoyed The Frighteners, and I think it was very cool to see the CGI, practical effects stuff, right? I think it was cool to see Michael J. Fox still in his very sort of, a very different type of role, to be a little bit more darker than he kind of was done historically. And then I think there's so much stuff where you can see the Lord of the Rings stuff, right? Like The scene where they are being, consumed to hell by all the tentacles and stuff feels like early Mordor kind of being established, right? And that's where like you feel like you're getting that visual identity that Peter Jackson really brings to the Lord of the Rings and some of this early stuff. But I also just thought it was a really cool story in the interplay between, the living and the dead, and, how they sort of did the flashback scenes, right? Even where he's like running through the facility and it's present day and then it's the past and then the gunshot and then you jump back to it. Just some really cool stuff that you also see like, oh, you absolutely did this in Heavenly Creatures and you kind of like refined it here a little bit more. But overall, I could see how people in 1996 were definitely like, that's a hard pass for me. Sorry.
Right. 65% Rotten Tomatoes. Fair, about right.
That feels about right.
A little low.
That feels about right to me. That feels about right to me.
Yeah.
Feels about right. I think I gave this one 3.5 on the old letterbox. Was it the Metacritic one feels a little bit low for this one.
Yeah. I was a little surprised by Metacritic.
I think Frighteners was a very solid offering. And really good. Some really funny some moments in there as well too. Which, wasn't necessarily expecting it to be as funny.
All right, next up, we got Small Soldiers, 1998. Now, before I go into the basics and the listing of who did what, I had already made notes. That 2 brief notes before I hit play, before I added it to any lists, before anything at all. Right off the bat, my first note was Joe Dante. Joe fucking Dante. You didn't tell me, buddy. Joe Dante.
I saved it. I buried the lead.
You didn't. You're over here.
We did it.
You're over here rattling off Henry Owens, who isn't in the movie. He's just on the soundtrack. And buried the lead of Joe Dante. You absolutely.
Phil Hartman and
retro
Kirsten Dunst.
Specalians.
Tommy Lee Jones.
You go back and check. I assure you, Teddy mentions Henry Rollins. And then the second one is just very funny. I use so there's 2 apps that you can use if you have a library card. Strong recommend folks at home, get yourself a library card. You can rent movies for free digitally with an app. There's 2 apps. There's Hoopla and Canopy. They also do audiobooks and stuff like that. But both of them are also video streaming apps. And on Hoopla, the library card holders gave this a stunning 4.6 stars. So those are 2 quick. Before I hit anything at all,
out of 5, I
had
assume.
to at least
out
be
of 5,
like,
I assume, yes.
Out of 5, yes. Out of 5.
That's 5. Right? Okay, we got to clarify.
Out of 5, yes. So, like I said, don't go burying the lead on Joe Dante like that. Okay, so
well,
1998.
Next time I will not be sure to bury the lead for you. I mean, do I know that you have a fondness for Gremlins and all the things that Joe Dante has done before?
Inner Space.
And so that was a fun little bit.
The Twilight Zone movie where we got scary Dan Aykroyd. The Rock and Roll High School where Joe Dante asked America, "Hey kids, do you like the Ramones?" And they went, "Who?" And he goes, "Never mind, you'll love them." We're gonna make a whole movie about this band nobody's ever heard of, and they're like, "Who?" And he's like, "Hey, you'll love them." Also, and then nobody gave a shit.
And I also feel like he's and I was about to say, yeah, exactly right. With the Keke Palmer Peacock reboot of The Burbs, you've seen a lot of Joe Dante references coming up these days.
Yeah.
Watching that. So, yes, surprise. It's a Joe Dante joint. Here's one of my favorite things about Small Soldiers. I'm sure maybe this will answer a few questions for you, but I definitely remember watching.
Hold on, we're still going through the basics.
Theaters.
Hold on, we're still going through the basics.
My bad. Okay.
I do want to hear that. Put a pin in that. I don't want to cut that off. I don't want that to get lost in the ether. What I've got is when I was looking at the writers, I was like, okay, never heard of them. And then the last guy I clicked on clearly was like brought in to clean some stuff up. And that last guy did Shrek, Pirates of the Caribbean, and another movie that originally was on your Hidden Gems, Deja Vu.
Hey.
Terry Rossio.
Oh, I've heard.
Did you? Was that?
Before,
is that just?
I didn't realize.
Is that just a kismet situation?
That's coincidence. That's just a. A very big coincidence.
Oh.
I've heard of the name before.
Okay.
Big shout out to Terry Rossio for bringing the hits.
Yeah, he's listening. He's
all
like
the Caribbeans, huh?
He's the fourth one. No, I don't know. I just in the top 4 on IMDb, those are the 4 that they listed.
Right.
But I was surprised because he's the 4th guy listed. You have to go to the more writers to find him. But the other guys all had I'd never heard of any of the stuff they did prior to this. And his were like just bangers. And I was like, oh, okay. 40 mil budget, right. 87 mil box office. So definitely outgrossed Frighteners.
Well, had a little Burger King behind it, so there you go.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, I could see that. 50% Rotten Tomatoes, not listed on Metacritic, does not exist on
that.
Metacritic.
That does not surprise me at all. Doesn't surprise me at all that the ivory tower of Metacritic refuses to deign the cultural excellence that is.
No acknowledgement that it exists.
How dare you? Big Metacritic wants to deny what's popular in the streets. Here's what I will say, though, right? And this was kind of to bring it back to the Joe Dante. He was supposed to, and I have this a lot in my notes, and I remember the thinking about things, watching it then versus what right now. Supposed to be a movie for teenagers with a real edge and bite. And then Burger King got the big kids meal toy line sponsorship.
Mm-hmm.
And so then that was when they were like, hey, we need this to be a little bit more of a like kids family friendly movie. And you can feel that in throughout the movie. I don't know if you did, but I definitely noted that. And then as I went back and was sort of like, oh, okay, how much of this do I really remember? And then how can I sort of like, tug on, right? Like hearing him discuss it so explicitly of, I tried to make this edgy picture for teenagers. And then, they came in with the Burger King of it all. And they basically told me to soften this shit up. So that's a lot of Small Soldiers, right? Because it's a bleak film. It is very dark in a lot of ways.
Yeah, I don't, it's hard to, my brain's so fucked, so it's hard to hard to be like, hey, Mitch, what parts did you think were too dark for kids? I don't know, man. I was 8 when I watched Hellraiser. What do you want from me? So because I'm also, again, you think Gremlins, in my mind, that's a kid's movie, but
it's also dark. Like,
it's
you can have
dark.
a dark ass. Is it a kid's movie? And here we go, Joe Dante once again, right? I don't necessarily know if I would call Gremlins a kid's movie as it is a movie for like teens. Like, it's not a kid's movie. It's not. It has an adorable guy, but like, it's the same tension of Small Soldiers. Is it a? It does
have an
movie
appeal for kids.
I wouldn't, but like, if they actually I don't think so. I think it's kind of dark. To me, it's also a pace of the movie from Pixar, Soul, right? I don't know if you've ever seen that one. But that's one where you've got Jamie Foxx as a teacher who's got to go back. That movie is great. That is not for kids. That shit is real heavy and real existential. It ain't no fucking Inside Out, all right? It ain't no fucking Hoppers, all right? That is a movie for teenagers at lowest threshold and for fucking adults going through it kind of as its most target audience. So that's kind of where I come down on,
Okay, so then sidebar, because this is something I've wondered for many a year, and this is one of the things that kind of inspired wanting to do a show like this. What happened to the come on, kids are resilient, they'll get over it movies? And what I mean is Goonies, Gremlins, fucking Stand By Me. Look, those are 3 really great examples. I'm sure I could think of more, but those are 3 really good. I guess so, but it's not quite the.
Are we discarding the ending of My Girl? It's pretty tough.
No, I'm just saying, like that one. I don't know necessarily had a kid slant to, but it's also not like an adventure.
They're kids. The whole movie's about kids.
Okay,
they're the same age as Stand By Me.
Okay, then we got to throw in The Good Son, I guess.
Yes, but that's a dark ass movie.
Okay, I was thinking about
My
like
girl
adventure.
has Macaulay Culkin, son.
I understand that. I was thinking about adventure movies where the kids are like tweens and are getting up to tween stuff, but they're like.
I feel like that's a great example because
it appeals to kids. It appeals to kids, but I could see parents being like, "Whoa, I don't want my kids going on that kind of adventure."
That's my girl. The whole movie's about death.
Okay.
And you got the kid from Home Alone. They say, "Oh, hey, old boy with the little, I want to see that." And the parent, you be like, "Yo, this shit is sad as hell. We're not trying to."
I mean, again, people gave the same. I think gave more flack to the good son for more worries.
Sure, it's a little bit darker. Fucker. Yeah, it was.
But
evil
I mean, I'm saying like as far I was going. I was going
You're
for
going
the
for action.
I was going for the
closer to small soldiers.
I was going for the upbeat kids. I'm putting kids in air quotes because again, my brain's all fucked. But I'm saying, again, Goonies is a good example of this, very much so. What I'm talking about. Stand by Me, kind of less so, but a little bit. And now I forgot the third one I mentioned. Oh damn it! Just had it. You heard it.
I heard it.
What did I say?
It's a Goonies, Stand By Me, and
yeah.
I can't remember right now.
Yeah, now it's lost on me. But yeah, those kinds of. It's a comedy. It's kids, but it's not necessarily like for. I don't know if it's for kids, but we kind of. It was fine. Like it's fine. Or whatever, but it feels like at some point, maybe to the point that we're talking about vis-a-vis Burger King, the Burger Kings and McDonald's, whatever, got involved and killed that off to where you got, look, I'm sure people at home are going to fucking throw things at their screen right now, but the saccharine, no balls Spy Kids, I'm talking like the Spy Kids movies and the fucking,
why are you taking a straight at Spy Kids, man? I don't think it's Spy Kids.
Blank check. And, no balls.
Yes.
Got no real balls.
Are we saying Blank Check has no balls? Is that the claim?
No balls. No balls.
It's no Brewster's Millions. I mean, well, that's a very aggressive comparison. I would say
that's got
very
balls,
aggressive.
It's got balls.
I would probably in the last couple of decades, right? It's a culmination of what do we call it, soft parenting or whatever, right? And I think to me, what you're talking about is the same thing of the most recent Superman movie with James Gunn talking about the depiction of Lex Luthor as a villain and how originally there was a scene where I think Lex Luthor like kills a dog or something like that, and test audiences were like, oh, and they that's too. That's what, and then he's like, we took it out because, and he, like that's a villain. Of course, he's killing dogs. Why are we sanitizing Lex Luthor? Like, that's. I feel like that has bled into not just kids entertainment. You can say superheroes are for kids or whatever, but they're general audience at this point. Deal with it. There is this sense of we can't have bad guys and villains being too real, right? Like, I do think you also see this of a sense of, I talked about this with my wife when she watched like the Gossip Girl reboot. And, first of all, we focus on the teachers. Don't give a fuck about the teachers, man. We here for the messy, rich white kids. But you sanitized it where like no one can actually be mean or a piece of shit to then have a redemption arc, right? And so it's like, well, I'm not really a bully, but it's like, no, like that's the whole show. Like you got to have bad people. And so I don't think that it's even specific to just kids. I think it has become encompassing across a lot of entertainment depictions of we can't actually show people being mean, being whatever, because then you get this weird shit where someone's like, oh, this character is doing this thing. Are you condoning it? No, bitch, it's called fiction. I am doing a representation or satire. It doesn't matter. You've got to have some sort of space to have depictions of non-clean, neat, cheering, characters who are whatever, likable or whatever. There does seem to be this gigantic cultural course correction around sanitizing the types of things that you're talking about.
Yeah. I remember the third one was Gremlins. I don't know why I didn't immediately. Gremlins/Gremlins 2. Although Gremlins 2 kind of less so, but even still, kind of.
Sure. Okay.
But believe me, we will come back to Gremlins, much like we did a lot of going back to Heavenly Creatures. But right off the bat, 30 seconds of the movie, I was like, oh, this isn't like DreamWorks' first animated film. I thought that's what this was. I thought this was like they before Shrek, let's do Small Soldiers. And they're like, okay, that didn't work. Let's try something else. And then they made Shrek. Which, I mean, it's not terribly off, but it's also not technically
not totally film. Off. No.
But I thought it was fully animated. Like
you thought
for
Small
some
Soldiers
reason
was fully animated.
Yeah, I thought it was like again, like a Shrek or a Bug's Life or whatever.
It's a great live action, blend. But I would say, right, like I enjoyed. I remember watching it, and there's a lot of stuff that like rewatching it now, I'm like, oh, okay, I can appreciate. I think some of the layers that Joe Dante and the larger team sort of built into the production, right? I would be remiss before we go any further without talking about, as Phil Hartman, final role for him before he was tragically killed a couple of months later. But to me, this is Phil Hartman at his apex as this obnoxious suburban dad that he had kind of really perfected and honed a little bit on SNL, right? He's the same kind of character in stuff like Jingle All the Way. He's really, it just, he's not necessarily in this, but he's so just to the point of what we're talking about, right? Perfect casting.
Yes, absolutely.
And I think there's another piece of this in Small Soldiers that is just of the time, very much so watching this, and you're like, oh, okay, these are definitely guys, like, it's so perfectly cast for a movie coming out in 1998, right? Having Dennis Leary as the amoral corporate CEO asshole is perfect. And then the opening scene of him and Jay Moore and David Cross, all these 90s comedians guys, right? Do kind of bit parts to some degree in a way that we don't have that comedy pipeline anymore. We talk about this a lot. Like all of these guys were able to kind of get this feature work bit stuff because of going to TV and doing comedy stuff. But having Jay Moore, David Cross, and God, I've just got his name here. Dennis Leary it's perfect, right? I think the whole time I was listening to Dennis Leary in that first scene, what I was thinking of, right? I was thinking of Asshole.
Yeah.
The song Asshole.
Yeah. I actually wrote a note.
I was just calling you an asshole.
I guarantee I had paused it to write this note because he was famous in the 90s for doing his, hard hit
riffing.
His machine gun style. You know what I want?
You know what I'm sick of? He gets one of those riffs off in there, right? He gets what I'm sick of? Yeah.
I wrote, he gets cut off 2 lines in.
You know what I'm sick of? I'm sick of commercials that show us 4x4 trucks popping up to the top of Mount Rushmore and parking on top of Abraham Lincoln's head, okay? I'm sick of shampoo commercials that try to convince women they can look like Claudia Schiffer after one cycle of rinse and repeat. What if these toys...
And I guarantee... And I should look it up on YouTube. I guarantee on like the DVD special features, he did 7 minutes. And Joe Dante was like, just let him go.
Just let him go. Just let him cook. Let him cook.
He just let him go and was like, that's great, Dennis. That's great. Yep, keep it going. And he's like, and another thing. And then like when he was done, he was like, all right, we got it. All right, let's go. Move along. And then later he was like, all we need is the first 2 lines. We didn't need the thing about moms. We didn't need the thing about fucking jet engines. We didn't need the thing about V6 engine diesel cars. And we didn't need, you know what I mean? Like, he went into like, he'd probably started talking about smoking and whiskey. And he's like, this is kind of a kid's movie. We don't need that. You know what I mean? Probably had a Babe Ruth rant in there. You know what I mean? Like,
I will say from my end, I immediately got the very 90s guys. The other guy that I want to just take a moment to discuss because I hadn't really seen him in anything, and it was sort of a bit of a flash with the retrospects on is Jay Moore, right? Like, this is sort of Jay Moore's moment in the sun when Small Soldiers drops, and he's got a pretty solid role in this. But, you know, he had been on SNL for a couple of seasons right before Small Soldiers, right? And then he's in Jerry Maguire right before this, and he does a bunch of bit parts in like 200 Cigarettes, and then he's got a couple of the sitcom stuff, right? Gary Unmarried, a name I hadn't thought about in ages. Last Comic Standing, remember he brought that shit back. And then it just kind of felt like, oh, okay, like I haven't really heard anything from Jay Moore in a while. And lo and behold, I had completely missed somehow that he is not dating, but married to Jeannie Buss, controlling, a president of the Los Angeles Lakers. Jerry Buss's daughter. I don't like Jay Moore, a guy who's just been moving under the cultural radar for like the last decade. And fun fact, apparently, they live in separate apartments, but in like the same building, and it's a building that she owns. Jeannie's on that like Whoopi Goldberg shit, where she's like, "No, we don't need to have the same. I don't need you there. I don't need you there, Jay Moore. You got a nice little bungalow for yourself." No, that's
I like that. That's Oh well, there's that reality show, Celebrity Wife Swap. And my favorite episode of that is with Robin Leach, and he swaps with, I don't remember, some actor guy who's a real pain in the ass, and his wife does like everything for him, and he swaps with Robin Leach, and Robin and his partner. Robin is still in the show. I say in the show like as if it's a fiction. At the time of recording, in his later years, he was like basically an influencer. He was he would go to restaurants and do reviews on his website and shit like this. And it was like, "What's Robin Leach eating today? Let me show you this restaurant." And great living if you could do it. But he had a mansion over here, and his partner, didn't say wife, didn't say girlfriend, had a mansion over here. And, sometimes she'd stay at his, sometimes he'd stay at hers, sometimes they'd sleep, whatever. They didn't put labels on it. They didn't live together. They were a short drive away, and they each had their own personal driver, and they were fucking perfectly happy. And I was like, now see, that I can get down with.
So you had never seen Small Soldiers?
I had never seen it. No,
you didn't even know it existed. Is that a fair?
No, I knew it existed.
Taking a larger step back.
No, I had seen I'm sure I'd seen like the Burger King adverts. I had certainly seen the poster, and I'm sure I'd seen the DVD in the bargain bin at Blockbuster and or Best Buy or whatever have you over the years. But I'd seen the cover art a million times, and the cover art very much gives you hey, it's an animated film about small soldiers, So that's in my defense. In 1998, I was not of planet Earth, so I would not have seen this in the theaters. I would not have been in a movie theater. I had a lot going on that year. Getting me out of my apartment required like a variety of things, and none of them were going to be found in a movie theater. Let's put it that way. So yeah, there's no world in which I would have seen this in the movie theaters at the time. And subsequent years, no one's ever been like, Small Soldiers, we should watch that.
Except until your boy came through. Shout out.
Yeah. And I think, that's going to be a theme throughout this adventure.
It's resurfacing stuff like that for you.
Well, the thing is, it's like, there's so many things where people are like, how have you not seen blankety blank? And I just go, well, I made I made a decision.
I was off the grid
at that thing. No, I'm saying throughout my life.
Oh, you just made a hard pass. You just made a hard pass.
At 47, yeah, I look at something and I go, that's probably not for me. And I just don't engage with it. And that's it. That's all there is.
I see that.
I just don't engage with it because I'm just like, I don't think I'm going to enjoy that. And I don't get extra points for seeing it. And no one's paying me. Fingers crossed, maybe one day soon. didn't catch any Saturday morning cartoons when I was a kid. And then I grew up and because I had no cultural reference to them, I didn't care. And I didn't really have the nostalgia. So Saturday morning, if I woke up, I was like, oh, it's time to go out and do things. I wasn't like, oh, I got to catch my cartoons because I don't, you know what I mean?
I'm curious, though, how much could you appreciate some of the little satirical elements that I really enjoyed about this movie, both in real time as a youth and now with the retrospects on, if you weren't necessarily paced with Saturday morning cartoons and things of that nature, right? With the way they use the toys and some of the bits at the beginning, or did all that kind of play with you because you just sort of know it from a general cultural standpoint?
Yeah, I don't think there was anything that was lost on me. I mean, I immediately wrote down that, of course, David Cross's password is Gizmo. I was like, nice, Joe Dante. Nice cross reference, buddy.
Well done. Yes.
And then in the title sequence, I said that they nailed the 3D printing technique way early. I mean, that's basically what it looks like.
I have a very, There's a lot of stuff like that where I was like, oh, Small Soldiers would actually probably maybe do well as a remake. And then I found out they tried to do a remake in 2014, but it was canceled by 20th Century Fox. Had a code name of Toymageddon. But there's a lot of stuff in how they sort of position Globotech and Heartland Toy Company, which very top-notch satirical names, that feels super, super timely, right? Like even the way we're talking about the AI and military and its learning and all that shit or whatever is something that from a story standpoint, you could literally set present day and you wouldn't really have to update almost anything, right? There's a scene where the old boy, they go visit, his name's Ralph or whatever, right? Where, Jay Moore and David Cross go to visit him, he in the lab, where they're trying to figure out the chips and shit. And he's like, those fucking dummies at the Pentagon don't even know what I gave them. Like, this boy was cooking up some real high grade shit. He's like, these fucking goobers don't even realize what your boy Ralph is giving the United States government. And to me, that's the same thing, right? Like, how much do we talk about algorithms and all these companies? They're big black boxes and nobody really knows and appreciates the stuff that's being unlocked with some of the AI and the learning and this, that, or whatever. It's really from a, socio-political standpoint, Small Soldiers is right on the fucking money. And then obviously, we are viewing this in a backdrop of being in a war with several countries. They can say we're not at a war or whatever, but you do a blockade, you kidnap the people's head of state, you're blowing up shit. It's war, bro. Other side gets a say in what we call it, right? So it's fascinating to have that in the headlines, and then you get the lines around, like for example, where he's like, "What do soldiers need?" And they stumble on it, and then he asked the assistant or whatever, and she was on that shit. She was like, "Enemies, sir," and I was like, "Oh, she will slit your throat." She is ready. Miss Kegel, I think that's her name. Miss Kegel
I was
ready,
a little surprised. I was a little surprised nobody made a Kegel joke at those two guys. Nope, not a Kegel exercise between the two of them. All right. I will say, I thought the moment I saw this, I was like, this is what, like you were saying with Frighteners, you were like, this is Mitch's jam. This moment, I was like, this is Teddy's jam. For me, the moment was Archer looks at Encarta for 2 minutes. He sees Lincoln. He's like, all right, this looks like a good guy. Wait, he freed the slaves. And then he's like, Dwight D. Eisenhower did what? And then he's like, World War who? And then it's just like war after war. And he's like, what the fuck? And then he sees nature. And he's like, 2 minutes of Encarta, and this man is ready to take down the military-industrial complex for the glory and freedom of the Gorgonites immediately. And I'm like, this is why the right hates Wikipedia right here. This is why they want to take over the education system, because they swear that you give them an Encarta, and they take up arms.
Now, it's so funny that you said that, because, A, you're 1,000% correct. You could not be more correct.
Young Teddy being like,
yeah, bro. I mean, we talking like, we talking 98 here, right? Your boy is 12, 13 maybe 14, depending on what month this is coming out. But
yeah.
I had also seen the year before that, The Fifth Element. And you remember the scene when Lilu, excuse me. She studies all of humanity and the tears and all that shit. So yeah, like I dead ass, like it'd been a long time since I saw it, but I was
she's like,
about
all you do is kill, and he's like, no, we also love.
Yeah, we also got some other shit. But yeah, absolutely, Archer just absorbing all of humanity. And
from Lincoln forward, he's like not a fan. Like it starts with Lincoln, and he kind of you see him. He's like, yeah, this Lincoln guy seemed pretty good, but he was free in what? Like, and then immediately
it was a plot twist for old Archie.
Yeah,
Archie was not ready for that.
Yeah. And then everybody that he reads about after that, he goes Gorgonite, Native Americans, Gorgonites. He sees like natural mountains getting exploded to make, statues. And he's like, Gorgon blown to bits,
Yeah.
Just he's over there like, I'm going to tear these motherfuckers to the ground.
Yo, you had to program me to lose, but I'm taking a few of y'all out before I go. All right. We not going without a fucking fight. You leave it with something here. Okay. But like, to me, what's also fascinating about this movie, and we'll talk more about the larger 1998 box office since we're getting closer to Mitch's 1999 box office bonanza. You have small soldiers reconciling with is this a movie for teens? Is this a movie for kids? And then you've got it being released, though, with the bookend of Toy Story in 95 and Toy Story 2 in 99. And I feel like a perfect scene of why you'd be like, yo, this movie is real fucking dark for most kids. Not your boy. Tweens, holler at us. We out here. Is when you've got one of the Commando Elite trying to chase down, what's the old boy's name? Alan Abernathy. Trying to chase him down when he's on the bike, right? And he got the knife. Right. And he trying to stab the shit out of Alan, and then he get fucked up in the bike, and they trying to put him there. Yeah,
I was a little surprised that Alan took a couple of, he got a couple of knives in the hands. He got the fucking.
They was trying to come for Alan.
He got the corn holders in a leg. He got like 5 corn holders in the legs.
They could have got attended with Alan.
Like I was a little surprised because you're like, usually these movies, it's like, oh, like what are they going to scratch them? Be like, oh,
no, they chopped that boy's hand.
Yeah, I'm saying like they got full on corn holders in the leg, 5 of them in the leg.
Yeah.
I was like,
they almost set Phil Hartman on fire in his own front lawn.
I'm saying these motherfuckers didn't come to fuck around.
You're chasing. Yeah, so like you seeing like we can see the same kind of scenes.
Now, see, this is what I'm saying with both the Gremlins and, for example, the Goonies. Like the Goonies are getting chased by these 3 goons. These mafiosos that are out here chopping off people's hands, getting ready to take tongues out and shit like that. Like these are some real hardcore motherfuckers. They're not playing around. They're not like tee-hee. You know what I mean? You're kids. All you know is scrapes and bruises. But these motherfuckers are ready to put your hand in a blender. They were ready to put hands in blenders. They had a blender there.
Not just hands.
Same kind of
look at the setup. They look like, I mean, again, right? It has a very direct line to these dark, gritty, coming of age, young adult movie. And I think that's the difference here, right? What is a kids movie versus a family movie versus a young adult movie? And you can see a kids and family small soldiers at certain times. And then you see a young adult small soldiers, right? And if I'm a Burger King executive, you got to get that young adult shit out of here, bro. I'm trying to move Gorgonites and Commando Elite units, okay? I got Tommy Lee Jones and the Whopper commercial. You got to help a brother. You gotta help me out.
That was actually the thing that I was struggling with throughout the movie, is that I was like, okay, I see I'm a fucking soulless corporate schmuck, and I'm like, I need to sell things to kids off the back of this movie, and I'm seeing nothing I can sell because I'm like, well, we can't make anything. First of all, we can't make anything that moves like that. Secondly, all these toys do is fuck shit up. Secondly, the kids want the fucking army guys, and they're the bad guys. Right. They're very much the bad guys.
Look, they're bad guys, but are they the bad guys, though? I mean, they are, but they're not.
They're the bad. I mean,
they're clearly the bad guys. But to the children, to that little kid and Kirsten Dunst's little brother. He's not the bad guy.
This is the dilemma for an American father, right? The kid wants the Army toy, and you're like, look, the text of the film is these are the bad guys, but I can't tell you that the U.S.
the Commando
Army,
elite,
that the U.S. Army Commando elite are the bad guys, but like the movie guys. Is very much
got this
like
guy
the
strung
U.S.
up.
Army's the bad guys.
I mean, there's a line in there that's so funny to me, and I think it's when Kirsten Dunst is talking. It's when they are blasting Spice Girls wannabe and the psychological warfare of it all, right? And then she says, "This is what the Marines did to Noriega." Hilarious.
Yes.
Hilarious. A little throwaway line. But it is also, to your point, the movie is really clear about some of these juxtapositions, subtext, right? It's got a really funny bite to it about exploring, military and war and some of the ways they talk about, and even the fact of taking a larger step back. I thought one of the things that was really interesting learning about it, diving into it again, right, is I knew that the actors for the Commando Elite outside of Tommy Lee Jones were all guys from the Dirty Dozen, right?
Right.
Jim Brown.
I caught that in the credits. I would not have known that.
Right. Yeah.
And then the Gorgons are all the dudes from Spinal Tap.
The Spinal Tap, right? It's pretty hilarious. But I thought what was kind of funny is they wanted Charles Bronson to be a toy soldier, and Charles Bronson was like, absolutely I was trying to imagine Charles Bronson and small soldiers, and I just can't. Like, I can easily see Tommy Lee Jones being like, yeah, absolutely, I'll do this shit. I don't give a fuck. I'm not even on screen. Yeah, whatever. But Charles Bronson trying to do anything in this movie, I'm like, yeah, you guys might have lucked out with him passing on that.
Yeah. Now, where you could have turned this, where this would have made a gazillion dollars and we all would have had fond memories of having the toys, is if you didn't have a U.S. Army lookalike toy and they just had two made up creatures.
If they weren't G.I. Joe parodies, is that what you mean?
Yeah. If you just had like, this is one kind of monster and this is another kind of monster and the green ones are bad and the purple ones are good, or whatever the fuck you wanted to pick a color. If you'd have done that, we ain't got no problems. But Joe Dante's over here going, no, make them absolutely the U.S.
I got
Army.
A point. Like, I got something to make here.
You can't sell toys that look like the good guys that are the bad. Like I'm saying, that's you're fucked. You're fucked.
Here's where
you're fucked in that environment. That's what I'm saying. This is the. I imagine what is
if you're the Burger King executive.
Yeah,
you're the Burger King executive getting a final cut of this, and you're like, "What the fuck am I supposed to?"
Are the kids supposed to want these toys to shoot each other?
You gotta go back and shoot this shit again. There's a scene in there where I literally just wrote, right in the big war montage when they drop, the classic from Edwin Starr. It's coming, right? And I was like, this is again 1000% not intended to be a children's movie originally. You can clearly see that in this scene. They got the motherfucker with the chainsaw, bro. Like, they driving around with the actual chainsaw. Plus, they out here literally blowing up trees and power lines, dog. Like, that's your military. They committing war crimes. The other piece of it that we got to talk about before, because I think this is truly, to me, the biggest supporting evidence for everything that you're saying. These guys talk about Commander Chip or whatever the fuck his name is.
Chip
Tommy Lee Jones,
Smackadoo or whatever. Yeah. Chip Puncherson. I don't know what it was.
I don't think it's Chip Puncherson. It's Commander Chip Hazard or Major Chip Hazard. That's what it is. Major Chip Hazard. It's the Commando Elite.
I thought it was Chip like it was an action. Wasn't it Chip something or other?
His name's Major Chip Hazard. That's his name.
Okay.
Yeah, Major Chip Hazard.
All right. I thought it was an action.
He's the. Right. Well, I mean, Hazard is a bit of an action verb depending on what it is.
Right.
But
fine, that's fair.
They talk about in that one scene, which is it's such a well set up scene, right?
By the way, Chip Puncherson is a better name.
Chip Puncherson, I don't think is probably Burger King is going to give you the sign off on that one either. Burger King is not going to put a bunch of Chip Punchersons in the children's plate.
I'm Dick Kickerson, and this is Chip Puncherson.
I need another name. I need another name. Which there's the scene, right? Like, it's really funny. I guess the name of Phil Hartman's family, the Thimples, right?
Yeah.
Which is a very funny name. But he's sitting there watching the World War II documentary, talking about that. Wow, your boy Major Chip Hazard starts talking about chemical warfare. And then they proceed to drug these motherfuckers straight up in their own house. I'm Burger King. What you want me to do with this? What you want me to do with this, Joe Dante? Hey, Joe Dante, how am I supposed to sell these toys? Like, it's crazy to think about. That's not the straight hard PG-13. Hard PG-13. You know what I say, a hard R? Have you ever seen a hard PG-13?
Yeah. Now,
when you're drugging the adults, the humans, and they're supposed to be the United States military, we're making Noriega jokes. Burger King got to be like, oh my God.
I'm saying this is a hard sell. Putting the U.S. military as the bad guy for a kids movie is a hard fucking sell. I'm a little surprised it ever got made.
I will say it's also especially tough considering, right? You're talking about the U.S. military. And it's not necessarily U.S. military specifically, but it kind of is, because this is the same year in summer. Go ahead. What you going to say? You going to say what I'm going to say?
No. All I'm saying, probably it's probably a larger point. So go ahead with your thing.
What I was just going to say is it's not lost on me that Small Soldiers comes out, right? And it came out July 10th, middle of summer. Mm-hmm. You're talking about the United States military. Mm-hmm. You are up against, in that window on the front side, Armageddon. So it may not be the military, but it's the U.S. government, and we out here, and we heroes, and, rockets, we doing the brave shit, right? Rockets and all that good shit. Explosion. And then on the backside of you opening up, you get Saving Private Ryan. So now, even if you wanted to be, like, I think if you had figured out we are going to be clearly a Gremlins-esque young adult Goonies movie doing that 80s gritty shit, you could have had a lane. If you had just gone full throttle, kids, families, nerf the fucking corn cobs in this kid's leg, and the clear war crimes being committed by the G.I. Joe proxy, you could have had a chance. But you're trying to do both. You have no clarity of what this movie wants to be. It's still good. It's still enjoyable. But I can easily see audiences being like, no thanks. What am I supposed to do with this? I can get it in a much clearer, cleaner way.
Yeah, I'm saying,
in a variety of different slashes.
What conversation do you have with a kid about the Army?
Noriega? What did Noriega do?
No, what I'm saying.
Why the Marines was doing this to Noriega?
Without standing too high up on a leftist soapbox and ACAB to the skies, although I guess I'm kind of doing that.
We're talking about today or 1998?
I'm saying I'm a parent in 1998, and my kid comes back from Small Soldiers, and he's like, yeah, these Army guys were fucking shit up, and but they were the bad guys. I'm like, no, they were the bad guys, and he watches 30 seconds of any U.S. war documentary. He's like, literally, what's the difference? Like, what are they doing that they don't do all of the time? And I'd be like,
now,
well, wait till you get to high school and they'll answer those questions for you. I'm not I got to get to work. And
okay,
if I'm a parent in the 90s, I'm not really around my kids, so it doesn't really matter. But supposing I were.
First of all, I'm absentee. I haven't seen these kids in years.
First and foremost, there's a reason you got a key around a necklace. I'm out. But I'm saying, when you get down to it, what is this fake toy soldier army doing in this movie that the U.S. Army isn't prepared to do 24/7?
All valid. Now, I had forgotten about this.
I'd say invading force, but like the Gorgons were just dudes, just chilling. Not even an invading force.
They just were trying to live. They just trying to live the Gorgonite life.
Didn't Didn't even try to like take a spot. Didn't go like, hey, what if this part of the shelf is ours? Nothing to that. They just got attacked. But what
here,
you know what I'm saying? I'm being way too adult about this, but I'm saying
no,
that is
it's
a,
very
that is
valid
a problem that you have to deal with as an adult. When your kid is going like, yeah, look at them fucking up those Gorgons. But also doesn't the kid know like they're the bad guys? Does the kid grow up hating the U.S. military, or does he think, Baba explosions, go U.S. military? I don't know. What do you do to a kid with a movie like this? You might have both,
but I had your rant here reminded me of something I came across when I was researching, because specifically, right, the PG-13 rating versus Burger King's expectations. So Burger King had already committed to the kids meal toy line, right? They get the PG-13 rating. They shocked. They looking at this movie and they you, Mitch. What am I supposed to tell the kids of America?
First of all, Burger King. Second, the fuck.
Yeah, right. Now, it was so crazy. There was an LA Times article from July of 1998 talking
LA
about
Times killed it in 1998.
Talking about there was coverage in Variety as well too. Specifically, the PG-13 merchandising conflict around Burger King and small soldiers. Mitch, I know you'll love this. The shit was so egregious, some Burger Kings offered to swap the small soldiers' toys for Mr. Potato Head. If you...
Well, they don't attack.
I get it.
They don't attack.
That's a Toy Story, right? It's Toy Story.
That is Toy Story. That is a much easier conversation to have with your child. Here. You can put faces on it and shit. Anyway,
you could go. Hey,
I gotta go. I gotta hit the country club. Anyway, TV dinners are in the freezer. Don't tell your mom I left.
You gotta. Let's go get some Blockbuster. Let's go watch Toy Story.
Yeah.
VHS. Even when they're talking about chemical warfare, the other quote that I wrote down, because again, the way they just talk about war is not to, it's like, even if you weren't getting into the good or bad of the United States military,
right?
There's such an unvarnished level of, of speaking like a military guy where you're just
whole time you're kind of like, where's the lie? You gotta like,
he goes,
what am I misrepresenting here? What light am I putting them in that's unfair? Tell me now.
It's the thing where we're in that scene with the Fimples where he goes, son, you can either be, they kidnapped the boy, right? They kidnapped the Fimples child, and he goes, son, you can be a prisoner or a casualty. That's some wild shit for a Burger King endorsed kids movie. I'm the Burger King exec. I get to that scene. You are kidnapping the child who is supposed to come to my restaurant, and this child, my target audience, is being held at knife point by the toy that they are supposed to want. What are you doing to me, Joe Dante?
Hold on. Ghost of Burger King CEO back from the grave. I'm not sure if he's alive or not, but I just mean that position. I'm sure whoever was CEO in 1998 is not today. Maybe wasn't the next day, but at that time, I'd just like to clarify, Burger King did not endorse the movie. We're merely selling toys off the backs of what we hope will be a profitable franchise synergy. We love
just trying to get it. I just want a little bit of that Toy Story money.
Yeah. Like that's all. We didn't endorse the film. I want to make that.
There's so many notes that I have that are variations of the way the Commando Elite are moving is diabolical, especially so for a kid's film. The number of times that I just have some sort of variation again of this dude keeps saying Gorgonite scum, and that shit is real aggressive for a child's movie. Like, you could tell that's in the script. He's like, Gorgonite scum, we have ways of making you talk. I'm like,
somebody was like, what's a good slur? And they were like, no.
Scum.
Just stick with scum. And he's like, you sure we should call him like Gorgon? No.
Just go real scummy. I'm really curious about this for you, given your, you talking about your youthfulness and where you were with Saturday morning cartoons and all this, and also the tension of this movie being for kids or being for young adults, teenagers, or whatever. Because I have a lot that Alan Abernathy is an asshole in this movie, man. This kid,
the kid or the dad?
The kid.
Oh, okay.
The kid sucks. The kid, like, he's well acted. No, nothing against, right? Right. I'm not saying nothing against old boy Gregory Smith. Great job as Alan Abernathy. You made him very hateable. I don't know if that was your intention, but you gave me teen angst. But there's so many times where Alan, they got the scene where Alan talking like the Gorgonites, like they dirt, son. Archer right in front of them. He's like, look at these fucking losers and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, Alan, yo, you suck, bro. Also, Alan's dad trying to be real generous in that one scene where he's like, you assume the word to me or whatever. And then Alan his dad about to have a fucking stroke where he walks through telling that shit. I will also say another like very funny moment. Alan's mom, when he talking about the shit or whatever, and she on the car and she driving him, and she does what I feel like any responsible parent should do. She turns to Alan and she basically is like, are you on that shit? You smoking that shit?
The crank? You on crank?
You smoking that shit, boy? You smoking that shit, Alan? We done moved 2 schools, man. Huh? You putting this family through hell. Alan is kind of an asshole. Let's just be real clear. And I think you don't need your kids to be necessarily lovable, but to bring it back to the Burger King executive, which is my point here, I'm watching this movie. You kidnapping my target audience. The toys are blowing up the neighborhood. The kid protagonist is a
the U.S. military and not the best light on planet Earth.
You're making a U.S. military look real sus right now. Dog, how am I supposed to hit my goals? What I'm supposed to do? What am I supposed to do?
It's Christmas with so much unpacked there.
You know what I'm saying? I was looking at this. They thought I was supposed to be a sleeper hit at the box office this summer. I'm getting wiped out, dog. I'm getting wiped out.
Couple 3,000 things. Okay. First and foremost, because I have it in my notes, this is basically Joe Dante wanted to make another Gremlins. And they were like, no. And he goes, fine.
Absolutely not.
What if we make basically the Gremlins again? And they were like, we can do that, but with toys. To the extent that even though he's not listed as a writer, I refuse to believe he did not call one of the writers in the middle of the night during the first or second script read through and go, okay, I have some thoughts on the dad. And they were like, all right, Joe, go ahead. And he goes, here's what he is. He's really hardworking, cares about his family, bit of an absentee father, but not intentionally. He works really hard. Let me get back to that. He works really hard, cares about his family, little bit absentee, but I want to point out he works really hard, cares about his family, little absentee. He's got a not conventional job. He's not very good at it. He's not successful. They're fine. They're fine. They're not. The house is not getting foreclosed. They're fine. They're not doing well, but they're fine. Everything's fine. Not great, but fine. They could be doing better. He's got a lot of stress about it, but they're fine.
Right.
He's got a little bit of anger issues, but you don't really see it.
Stuart
he's not a bad dad. He's not hitting his kid. No, he's got a bit of an anger issue.
His kid is kind of a dick.
He's dealing with the anger issue. He's going to therapy. Things are happening. He's going to a conference about anger management. He cares. He wants to be a responsible father. He wants to be more present and not get worked up about this stuff because he's got a lot of stress running a weird toy store where he doesn't have toys that make noise and shoot missiles like all the kids want. He's weird. He's a weird guy. But again, works really hard, cares about his family. Not doing great. Not he's doing all right. Not great. And you had to be script writer was sitting there on the other end and you're going, you mean the dad from Gremlins? Yes, the dad from Gremlins. That's what I want.
Just give me that. I get that?
And they were like, "Yeah, okay. I'll just the dad from Gremlins. He's not an inventor. That's right. He runs a toy store. Yeah, okay. But the dad from Gremlins. So that's one.
Big stretch.
The other one. How deep do I want to go here? As a child who got into record-setting levels of trouble, I was told by the principal that I got into record-setting levels of trouble when I got into record-setting levels of trouble.
Wow.
Like he told me, he was like, no one has ever been suspended as many times or for as long as you have. When I found out that this boy got kicked out of 2 schools, I was like, who did he kill twice? I set fire to my school and got 2 weeks detention.
Okay.
So I don't know how this motherfucker got kicked out of school twice.
Now, here is where you gotta, this is what I'm saying. Alan is real trifling, dog. And this also allows me to take the moment to shout out legendary character actor Dick Miller, who appears in all the man Joe Dante's films. I don't know if you were aware of that. Who plays Joe?
He did look familiar.
The truck driver.
He did look familiar.
He is, I believe, in literally every single Joe Dante movie.
I was like, this is definitely the same character he played in the Gremlins and the Gremlins 2.
He has appeared in over 180 movies across 6 decades. Not all Joe Dante, obviously, but has appeared in literally every single Joe Dante film. And if you are interested in learning
you're gonna
more,
hire that guy all day long. What's he gonna do?
Right.
He's gonna show up. You're going to say, do you want anything to eat? He's going to go, I don't know, a sandwich or something? You're going to give him a sandwich. He's going to be happy. You're going to go, here's your lines. He's like, don't even need the sides. I already know him right up here. He's going to get the job done. He's not going to complain. He'll take a couple of photos. He'll sit down. You need him? Yeah, boss, what you need? He's going to get the lines done. He's going to sit back down again. He's done for the day. He's going to collect his check. He's going to be like, hey, I love those residuals. Let me know if you need to do any reshoots. He's going home. He's going to have a laugh with the wife and a beer at the end of the day. That's the guy. That's the guy. Of course you hire that guy every time.
You can confirm Mitch's thesis in the fantastic 2014 documentary called That Guy Dick Miller. Surprisingly, exactly what you would expect the title to be. But I noted in the scene with Joe, the truck driver, moving that shit, disappearing off the back of the truck. You ain't fooling nobody. He immediately says to Alan Abernathy, when he starts talking about the shit,
I don't like your tone. Hey, it's too loud.
Yeah. Not even that. He go, arson fraud ain't necessarily the best idea these days. Like, yo, we talking arson fraud, son. So he didn't set some shit on fire. Alan was moving extra filthy. And then there's another scene where they talking about insurance fraud. And Alan was like, that's just like one little thing. Like, Alan is a real criminal mastermind, dog. Like, that's what I'm trying to say. Like, you was out here doing some trifling juvenile delinquent shit. Alan is catching felonies, bro. Alan is really on the fucking feds jurisdiction. Like, y'all gotta move jurisdictions because the feds are fucking on this guy.
To your point, I will note, I didn't put it in my notes. I should have put it in my notes. I will note, at no point, no matter how utterly chaotic, murderous, rampage, whole goddamn neighborhood is on fire, at no point does Alan go, maybe somebody should call the police.
Yeah.
He don't want the cops. He don't want the cops coming anywhere near his little operation. He's like, no. Let's just handle this ourselves. That's a
Alan
dude
trying to keep
who's like, no, we take care of
real off the books.
We'll come.
Yeah.
Look, we need a few more hours to come up with the story for what happened here tonight.
Alan is really not trying to get no law enforcement involved at all, bro.
That's the thing that threw me off right off the bat. Like, none of the neighbors, they hear loud noise, they go, Fimple.
That's hilarious to me. That was also hilarious. That's so great.
About the Spice Girls.
That's great.
But it's also like, wait, okay, sure.
Well, there's also some missiles happening there, too.
But like,
was in that house called
all of the other things that happened, you just chalk up to like, oh, we got a loud, like no one, all of those other houses, the shit blowing up, fucking power lines coming down, trees falling, shit's on fire, all this other ruckus. And I'm talking ruckus with a capital uckus going
the Flight
on.
of the Valkyries playing,
and nobody is like,
unfazed.
Seriously, can you send somebody out here to just give it a quick look-see?
Well, hey, they know how the Abernathy's moving, right? They talking Kirsten Dunst out here talking about the Abernathy's. All right, you try to call up them. Abernathy's is moving like
she does the call, and they think it's a prank call. Sure, one call, fine. In the 90s, the cops were like that. Everything was a prank call, fine. But 7 or 8 neighbors, that's how these things work. It's always like, yes, ma'am, we've had several calls already. That's what all these movies do. It's always, we've got 12 calls about that, already. And yes,
considering that they are military grade intelligence in household products. Yes. Think it's gonna?
They don't know about. They don't know about that. I'm just saying. Like,
they don't know about that. The consequences know about it.
But the ruckus.
They're self-aware.
I'm saying the large scale ruckus.
It's military grade ruckus.
There you go.
Now, I don't think the neighbors are necessarily doing this with intentionality consciously, but it is a thing again, right? Impeccable casting of Dennis Leary as the guy when he rolls up after all the chaos. They done blown up the neighborhood. He out here ready to get the global check.
Fucking checks.
Yo, son, incredible scene. Joe comes out from the truck. You know what I'm saying? Our guy out here, you know what I mean? Jake Miller. He's like, hey, I need you to move the truck with the Global Tech logo. He's like, well, maybe. Bro, the way he just moved the check out. Bow, son. Already with the zeros ready to go. Then he just start moving through the neighborhood, passing out checks. The shit is, that's the America that I grew up on, son. If y'all gonna be indiscriminate with the wanted destruction and violence, you at least gotta come correct with the check, all right? We had boy Stuart Abernathy or whatever his name is. He walked up on him. He said, I don't think you have enough money to pay for all that, right? He said, he hit him with he ain't say nothing. He ain't say nothing. This Leary didn't say nothing. He just said, him checking. Well, maybe you do.
Yeah.
Right.
I was a little surprised that truck driver Joe when he talks to Alan and he's like, oh, where are you going? I was a little surprised Joe didn't go, fucking retired. I'm going to Maui. Like, the fuck, I got a beach house. So you fucking like,
I'm done.
I'm buying.
I'm
going from here to the real estate office in fucking.
How much do we think?
You know what I mean?
How much do we think Joe got? How much do we think Joe got? How much do we think the Abernathys got? Because you got the escalation, right? Joe clearly was more than satisfied.
You got Joe. So you got Joe, you got Fimple, you got Abernathy's. Now, normally I'd say Fimple gets more because Phil Hartman's character is more of a hey. But no,
absolutely not.
So you got to pay Abernathy more than Fimple. But normally I would say Fimple you'd pay more, but he didn't.
Okay, well that's not happening. No, there's no way Fimple's getting more than Abernathy. Absolutely not.
No, of course not. I'm saying that Fimple's character. I'm saying Fimple's character is
he would be the type
to
be finagling.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. He's a finagling.
Joe, honestly, I think Joe got out of it for
1998.
1998, I think he got out of it for maybe $100,000.
You think he gave Joe $100,000?
Yeah, I think Joe's good for $100,000. That's about 200 and something grand today. That's enough for Joe. That's enough for Joe.
I don't know. I feel like the way those people reacted, the numbers
No, I'm just talking about Joe. I'm talking truck driver.
I know who you talk about. I'm saying Joe the truck driver. I don't think is $100,000, son.
He's just moving a truck. All he's doing is moving a truck. All he's gonna do is move a truck.
We gotta go into the global tech CEO perspective. I'm the kind of guy that comes with pre-cut, pre-approved checks. I'm not trying to lowball nobody. I'm trying to make this shit go away. You think Joe's good for 100? 250. I'm never hearing from you again.
Okay. 250, I think that would guarantee.
I think Joe starts at 250. I'm guaranteeing not only are you moving the truck, you will tell this Alan Abernathy kid, forget about
Joe to another state. You're moving Joe to some beach.
Forget about it, Alan.
Yeah.
Forget about it. It never happened.
Yeah, you're moving Joe. Joe's wife doesn't know where Joe is for 250.
Joe gone. 250. I think it's 250 and $1998 as at least. So now we're talking about.
I think that's too.
Fimples.
I think we got to double it. So I think 250 today is 500. I think I could double check that if you'd like. As long as
you're the one with the calculator here. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out. Fine. $1998.
250 1998 is
$500,000. Okay, there you go. Yeah, $250,000 in 1998 is basically about $500,000. Yeah. Okay.
I think
that tracks. I think Joe gets 250.
Yeah, that's fair.
So now to the Fimples.
Okay, Fimple.
And again, Fimples. Wow, no resistance. Knowing that the Abernathys come in real hot.
Now, housing.
I didn't watch you pay off the whole neighborhood.
Now, back then, you could pay off a house of the Fimple size. You could pay off for $200,000, $250,000. You could pay off easy. In full, you could pay off for $250,000. I know for a fact. In 1998, in that neighborhood, like in Phoenix. So I'm gonna say Fimple Make it easy. I think straight mill.
Cool mill.
Straight mill. A cool mill for Fimp.
I think
and
so.
Then
that tracks with my level of escalation.
And I think
yes, go ahead.
I think Abernathy, because of the kid, especially, because you're like, that kid's got to have a lot of questions.
He didn't already said lawsuit on the recording.
Yeah.
He's already said lawsuit.
That kid
he didn't got cut.
I think you got
a piece of
6.
shit.
I think you got to go 6 for the.
I was gonna say 5. So I
the family. Abernathy family.
An extra mil.
Yeah.
They say $5 million, and then Global Tech CEO says add an extra $1 million on there.
He's like that kid. That kid's got
that kid's worth another $1 million.
That $1 million mouth on that fucking kid. Let's just make sure that kid shut the fuck up through college.
That tracks to me. 250, $1 million, $6 million.
Yeah.
That $6 million would be enough for Stuart Abernathy to go from you don't have the money.
I don't think even you have enough money to pay for that. Okay, maybe you do.
Yeah.
To being like, well, maybe you do.
Yeah, he's like, I'm closing the toy store.
Because
I'm not angry about nothing anymore. I don't give a shit how many schools this kid got kicked out of. We're moving again.
Maybe my boy isn't such a screw up. He's still a screw up.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. But he's not as big of a screw up as I thought.
I got to take him somewhere he can't get in so much trouble. This is enough to
I can afford a boarding school now.
Yeah.
I'm sending this motherfucker to Switzerland.
Yeah.
I'm sitting on the other side of the fucking. You're going to the other side of the ocean, dog. You're going away, bro. You're going away, Alan Abernathy. Like, if I'm the Burger King executive, I would be pointing to the scene, and it is right after they're all in the house, right? And you got Phil Hartman, and you've got David Cross and Jay Moore's characters are shown up, right? And they're sort of, hey, you got a thing here. He punches Abernathy, also knocks Jay Moore right the fuck out. Well within his rights as a dad. He'd been waiting to punch somebody the whole movie, son. Mm-hmm. I can't blame you for that, Stu.
He was like, I went to this fucking 3-day conference. They were telling me about centering my chakras and shit. And all I want to do is punch a motherfucker out. And you're the motherfucker. I
gotta get somebody in. Yeah. But little Timmy, after all this shit is going down, there's a little scene where he goes, I'm scared. And I immediately wrote down, that is probably what most of the people Timmy's age are thinking watching this movie. If I'm a Burger King executive, I'm clipping that fucking scene and I'm going, of course they want Mr. Potato Heads. Look at the fucking target audience. You've traumatized them before the movie's done.
You would do well to heed Timmy's words.
Like a fucking Greek chorus. Timmy is trying to warn you before he goes to shuffles off this mortal coil. Please, God. One thing we have not touched on, but I do feel like it's very interesting to see her in this film because it kind of catches her at an interesting time culturally, is Kirsten Dunst, right? Yeah. She is already by this point established. She's gotten the nominations for I think it was Oscar and Golden Globes for Interview with a Vampire, which she had done, a couple of years before. She's 16 when she done Small Soldiers, and she had Interview with a Vampire and Jumanji. She, I think you'll appreciate this, agreed to do the movie before the script was even finished because she was so impressed with your man Joe Dante's concept sketches. She said, I met Joe Dante and he was showing me all the sketches and everything, what they were going to do. I wanted to work with him. How does it make you feel?
I fly on the wall. Fly, please. Good. If there's both a god and a time travel device, put me in that room as a fly on the wall. I want to hear an excited, probably coked up Joe Dante explain to a 16-year-old Kirsten Dunst by way of sketchbooks his fucking insane vision for Small Soldiers. I'm sure. I'm saying this with I say this all genuine joy and love. Like genuinely, that must have been a delight. Like I don't mean that in any ironic way. I mean like that was probably a genuine. Who wouldn't at that age?
Yeah,
have heard this man
fun.
He was probably beaming with pride and joy, be like, you did it, and then we're gonna do this, and she probably was like, yes, where do I sign? Yes, and he's like, hold on, I haven't told you the best part yet. He said, hold on, I haven't told you the best part yet 12 times in the course of 8 minutes. I guarantee you. And she was like, yes, 1,000 times yes.
She's like,
he's like, can I get your home phone number? I got a few more thoughts tonight. And the parents had to be like, she's got schoolwork to do. And he's like, okay, well, I had a few more thoughts. Can I tell them to you? And they're like, we have schoolwork too, Joe.
Yeah, like we gotta wrap this up. But I mean, you know, it's amazing. She's done Little Women. She's done, you know, Interview with Vampire, Jumanji. And then she does Small Soldiers, right? And she's talking about all these little CGI, you know, creatures and little dolls climbing up and jabbing her with forks and shit, you know, and the challenges of acting like that. And then she goes on in the next few years to have the first of her Sofia Coppola, you know, collaborations with the Virgin Suicides, right? The very next year in '99. And then
with your boy,
it's the
Mr.
cultural...
Hartnett.
Yeah, and then
another movie that I only know from the soundtrack, Virgin Suicides, by the by.
With
the
Air,
with Air, I have that.
Truly,
I didn't.
Playground
I literally
Love.
thought,
Shout out to Air.
I didn't until
that one.
Until about 2 weeks ago when you mentioned that movie. I thought that the soundtrack I was listening to was Air doing like they read a true crime book and decided to make an album based
You didn't
on
think it was the official.
Like I thought, like, because it sounded like somebody reading from a book in certain parts, and so I thought it was just Air being like, "Man, I love this book. Let's just read the book and do some songs." Because like you can hear, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. It's one of the best soundtrack, one of my favorite albums. And then next year, right, she gets one of her most iconic roles with Bring It On. You know,
I thought you were saying Spider-Man.
Well, that's 2 years later in 2002 from Bring It On, and then she gets into Spider-Man, right? So just an amazing arc for
not going to watch her Bring It On.
You're not going to watch Bring It On? Well, you are going to watch Bring It On at some point. You have got to. You're missing out.
I can't imagine a cultural relevance to a Bring It On that would need to be brought into this podcast.
I'm not going to let you off the hook there. But please. I think it's fascinating to see some of the stuff that, before she's even really, you know, I guess she's 20, 98, 2002. Yeah, before she's even 21 years old. She has this incredible resume in Kirsten Dunst, right? With some of the things that she's doing where she could even sort of frolic around and do a little lark with Joe Dante for Small Soldiers and, you know, do a very great just performance. Again, she's the one who says a little Noriega line. So funny. Amazing delivery there. And then the other piece that I think we need to talk about.
Do you buy that her character actually hated those toys? The perfect doll toys that she has. Yeah, the Gwendies. So at one point she starts smashing them.
I think she's older.
Things, and I'm like,
no, I think she is doing hey, I'm too old and cool for it. But also good little alley-oop for fun fact, the voices of the Gwendy dolls.
Yes.
You know who I'm going with here? You know who those are? I thought you were taking the alley-oop to name the name.
I remember seeing it in the credits and I was like, oh, that's an interesting thing. And I've since forgotten. I need a hint. I would immediately get it.
Two very 90s, and they're still very relevant today. But one of them would have been in, another child
Christina Ricci and
correct.
Christina Ricci and
Cruel Intentions. Buffy.
Oh, Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Slayer. That is correct. Yes, the two.
I had it on the Cruel Intentions.
Wendy dolls.
Yeah.
Yes. You go. I loved it when I don't know which one of them it was. I think it might have been Sarah Michelle Gellar, but there's the line when the Gwendies are doing the whole thing with the Commandos Elite and everything's happening, and she's like, "You bitch, you're killing me." It's just so funny. As like exactly what you would expect a Gwendy to say in the throes of war. And now that I'm looking at my notes here, to something you were talking about earlier, I have right above this directly, the Commando Elite do kind of make war and marauding seem a little too fun.
That's Joe Dante's bread and fucking butter right there. Put it on his tombstone.
a little bit too fun for the old thing. And on that point, I did also love at the end the sort of button of Dennis Leary's character talking about selling the leftover toys to rebels in South America, right? Like, to your point, no congressional investigation, no cops, no nothing. I can cut you a $6 million check because I'm about to run it up Iran-Contra style, bro. I don't give a fuck.
I heard about this money. I heard about this fella Bin Laden who's real curious about these chips I got. I will say, I don't know if you caught this. I don't know what inspired me to do this. I think it was I was hoping that I'd get the rest of Dennis Leary's rant. As the credits were rolling and I was rocking out to War with Bone Thugs and Henry Rollins.
Sure.
I went ahead and skipped to the end. There's an extra Phil Hartman scene. Did you catch that?
No.
Fascinating little. It's a blooper, but it's a really interesting blooper. Where he's reacting to them attacking him, and he says it's whatever line he says, and he stops and he goes, "Was that too much?" And you hear, I think Joe Dante. I think it's Joe Dante. You hear somebody calling the shots. Goes, "Who are you? When have you ever asked that?" And Phil goes, he just kind of like, yeah, fair enough.
Yeah,
it was just such a perfect thing. Like, when have you ever asked if it was too much? Is such an interesting, and his reaction to it, and then it fades out and says, "We love you, Phil." And I was like, "Oh, that's such a little."
Yeah, in memory of Phil. Yeah, they did dedicate it. Yeah,
but I appreciated that little.
Yeah, it's a great in memoriam for him. And I think two final points for me as we wrap up our conversation here and before final verdicts. I think, I was thinking a lot about the sort of concept of, toys that sort of play back with you, right? Thinking about this movie, a movie that I thought about a lot. I don't know if you've seen it, probably not. You ain't seen nothing, but especially considering the sequel really does intersect with a lot of the plot of Small Soldiers and, military grade weaponry, etc. is the breakout surprise hit from a couple years ago, Megan. Right?
Oh, yeah. I saw that. Yeah.
Like that. There's a lot of Small Soldiers in Megan, especially in the sequel where she becomes a sort of like government operative or whatever. It's all right.
You're spoiling.
It's another sequel. It's in the trailer, which you don't watch either. So there you go. And then the other thing, I think blind. You like to go in blind. You do a very good job of it. 98. We're almost at 99. Massive, broke the records of 96, 7 billion compared to the 5.2 a couple years before. Do you have any also inclination for top movies of 1998? You were pretty good.
Okay, 98.
But you weren't in the theater in 98. You were out.
I was out. I was out of it.
You were out of that bitch.
Let me think. 98. I remember Armageddon. Don't want to miss a thing or whatever, right? That was
Armageddon. Armageddon was up there. Like, yes, you had a ton. You had a Waterboy, Something About Mary. You also had the Godzilla big release that came out that summer.
That's a Matthew Broderick.
It was also yes. With the Come With Me that we can't talk about with Puff Daddy with the Led Zeppelin on the guitar. You can't stream it anywhere because they don't want to pay the licensing. It was dope. I watched that SNL performance a lot. Anyway. You also had your man Eddie Murphy that summer, Dr. Dolittle. He was back at it. Mm-hmm. We also had our other dueling, world apocalyptic movie with Morgan Freeman playing the president in Deep Impact that summer.
Okay.
Then you had Mask of Zorro, Lethal Weapon 4, the X-Files movie was out there that summer. And then you also had The Parent Trap, which, had a very clear audience there. And Rush Hour, Good Will Hunting, A Bug's Life, Truman Show. Yeah. So a brutal summer for a movie that could not decide if it wanted to be for kids or teenagers and also was supposed to be Burger King's ability to sell toys, but also had a very clear war satirical focus that just could not work.
The McDonald's CEO, was over there counting that Bug's Life money going, we backed the right horse. That's all I got to say right here. Right? They had to have done a Bug's Life promo, right?
You would have thought, right? I think there's also like,
look, if you got two, kids-ish, animated-ish, movies that are going to fast food joints, and Burger King is like, we want Small Soldiers. McDonald's is like, yeah, take it.
Yeah.
We'll
sure,
take
go
the
ahead
one with
for
the
it. Yeah,
bugs.
you got it.
We'll take the bug one.
You got it, guys. You got it.
They're like, yeah, but you sell food. You don't want bugs. And they're like, no. You take the one with the complex, U.S. military plot line.
This is also the same summer that we had A Bug's Life and Ants, right? We had two big of those joints. Now, they both came out in the fall.
Burger King could have taken Ants. But
that would have been the fall,
that,
right? You want a summer joint. You want a summer joint. And then you want it. You also, this is also the same summer that we had Mulan come out. Right? So you could have had your pick depending on who you wanted to really be associated with, right?
Mm-hmm. So
I think there was I could see on paper. On paper, you could have thought, "Whoa, Small Soldiers! This could be it. This is a nice little mid-budget joint. Okay, we can make something pop here."
Joe Dante was over there like, "You have no idea.
You got no idea what I'm cooking up, bro. I'm cooking up a fucking satirical heater." Yeah.
So 50% on Rotten Tomatoes, is that a wildly unfair, or is that probably where the culture was at?
It seems fair, but I do feel like it is a little underrated compared
these
to,
are the hidden gems, you know?
Yeah, I mean, but I would say that tracks with what I would expect as an assessment.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
You know? Yeah.
It's a tough one to, I enjoyed it.
It's a fun little romp. I enjoyed it, but I can definitely see why it would have struggled in that landscape to gain footing, even under the best of circumstances. I think even if you made it a very family friendly film, you're probably just getting obliterated at the box office between Saving Private Ryan and Armageddon, no matter what.
Well, yeah.
There's no way to escape that title.
You're not bringing the same audience to see Saving Private Ryan that you see to see Small Soldiers, right? You're not bringing the same crew.
The same parents might be, do I go and see the movie for myself or do I go see it with the kids?
Right. But I'm saying.
But I would say, okay, so you're probably deciding much more.
The parents go see Saving Private Ryan and they throw the kids into the Small Soldiers theater.
You're up against Mulan, right? That's probably what you're up against.
Oh, yeah, that's probably
those types
fair.
of things.
Yeah.
If we're talking specifically kids and family, Mulan is the big push. That's what you're up against in that summer. You're up against
and maybe
Disney
your
powerhouse.
Bug's Life, sure, but Mulan probably.
That's all. A Bug's Life and Ants were November, so we're talking July.
All right, so then
So you really are. I don't think, to your point, I don't think that people were going to go and see, Small Soldiers and Kevin Spacey and Samuel L. Jackson and The Negotiator that summer. Do I think there was a lot of overlap between those respective audiences? Not particularly.
No.
Not particularly. No. I can't say that I do. Right? So you really had the summer as like, all right, we're going to be the family-friendly joint, and you kind of got wiped out.
Okay, so next up, we have the 1999. Oh, we both have a 1999 movie. How fun!
This is our final installment in the Hidden Gems series.
Then you guys get to find out what the fuck this show is really going to be like.
But yeah, then we go into regular order. Surprise.
I wonder how many people are like, is this what the show is? They just talk about hidden gems all the time? No, it's not.
No, it's not. We're gonna go and do a lot of other things. That's just
and none of them are going to be wrestling or Bring It On. So we're going to cover the Eddie Murphy.
You're not going to watch Mickey Rourke, the wrestler, huh?
The Eddie Murphy, well, maybe. Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence jam, Life, 1999, and the Matthew Broderick,
Life, Casey JoJo,
Reese Witherspoon jam, Election, hidden way down in the bowels of the gems, which I didn't really pick for any particular reason except that nobody ever fucking talks about it. So I'm interested to watch it again. Which is interesting because I feel like see yours again, or yours for the first time, rather.
Yeah, I can't. Again, I am shocked as a guy who enjoys comedy that you have not seen this fine pairing and showcase for a lot of comedians. I am resisting the urge to pitch this film in the way that I typically do because I know that you're waiting on it.
Don't worry, I'll catch it. I'll catch it in good time. But,
no. Look,
but that'll be our first post-launch episode, so we'll get to find out. We'll probably spend a few minutes cleaning up
Seeing
the
people
tomatoes
feed the
that
show.
got slung at us on various platforms for the first episode.
Sure. Let's see what kind of feedback that we get.
I'm really curious what controversial takes we threw out in that first episode.
It's always the ones you
that we
least
have
expect.
no
It's
idea.
always-
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, now you got the homework in advance. We got the programming scheduled out so you can do your due diligence and ride along with us.
Right
No
on.
spoilers.
All right. Take care, folks.